Well, hello there, and welcome back. My name is Tom Colohue. For anyone who doesn't know, we are about to start a dual stream featuring WWE Raw. We are covering this both on Twitch and on YouTube. Tom Colohue, that being myself. For me, it is 1 AM, and I am being kept alive by little tiny purple cans. Mwah. The love that dare not speaketh its name. I need it. Cherry Coke is life. If this is your first time joining me this weekend, you will likely not be aware of the fact that this will be my second 4 AM finish in a row. So I don't know how long I'm going to last here, but I'm going to try the whole 3 hours. I'm aiming for the whole 3 hours. If I don't last the whole 3 hours, please don't blame me. I'm doing the best I can. But my God, is it going to be a challenge. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's excited. We have 3 main events, as it were, when it comes to the show. The most exciting things being the Women's Championship match between Becky Lynch, and Liv Morgan. That being the number one option, for me at least, the thing I'm most excited about. We also have Big E, the WWE Champion, versus Kevin Owens in a non-title cage match. Can't complain. There's a cage. That's always fun. Finally, the Pseudo Legends segment will be The Miz on MizTV hosting Edge. This will continue the push towards Edge versus The Miz, which will likely keep running until WrestleMania. Greetings, Megan. How are you? In the meantime, as always, we are Ask Me Anything here. You can chat away. You can chat on Twitch. You can chat on YouTube. You can do whatever you would like, because this is a Tom Colohue watch along, and basically we get away with murder here. With murder. We are opening with Seth Rollins immediately in black and red, in a suit that if it was black or red would probably look very, very good. But the red just looks very confusing and unnecessary. Like he's being cut open, but only in a very small area. Raw last week was fairly good, but they're going to have to work pretty hard in order to maintain the standard this week. I think they can do it, but they need to concentrate. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Megan. Even if maybe there isn't that strong a viewership. Viewership is hard to achieve. I know myself on Twitch hit a wall. Full on hit a wall. But we are where we are. Sean says the cage is down, cage match is opening the show. It certainly looks that way, doesn't it? Which should hopefully mean our main event will be Becky versus Liv. That's what I want. That's what I want. Day 1, of course, will feature a WWE Championship triple threat. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins and Big E. A whole multitude of sins can be taken up when there is a third man involved. Seth, for me, is a very likely winner. Although the more he talks, the less I believe it. Megan says I need to make progress first before I even get close to a wall to hit. I understand. I understand. You may do well on Reddit, or you may do well advertising using independent a bit more. There's options. But what I find with Twitch, if you're not advertising outside of it, you're not getting viewers. If you are advertising outside of it, you should probably just focus outside of it. Hey Marcus, how you doing, man? Noob says KO will rejoice on New Year's Day. Don't see it, but we live and we hope, don't we? 717, welcome to the show. Says a lot of people think Liv will win. I'm not one of them. To be blunt, I am simply not one of them. I don't think it's impossible. I would be very happy to see it, but I don't necessarily think it's going to happen. We have a new person over at YouTube. I believe it's Elian Solar. Let me know if I got that wrong. Who just says Becky Lynch, which I'm guessing is just pure fandom. Just pure unmitigated fandom. Just throwing as much love as possible towards Becky Lynch, because ultimately she is Becky Lynch, and that's usually reason enough. I am glad we are opening with the cage match. Marcus says, I'm still confused about Johnny because all reports are saying he's leaving, but after last night I feel this is storyline. He's leaving. There can be storyline and someone can be leaving. He's just being respected on his way out the door, which is unlike WWE, but still a possibility. Okay, all three of the competitors have, within the first 10 minutes, had promos. By the end of the first half hour, the entire WWE Championship section will just be done. Which means they're probably going to spend the entire rest of the show building towards Becky Liv. Someone7 says, did you like War Games? I did. I really enjoyed the War Games matches. The wrestling quality is still good in NXT, but the matches aren't quite as long, which suits me really well. As I've said before, as wrestling fandom goes, the thing that interests me least about the wrestling is the wrestling. I do struggle with it. Sean says, Edge on MizTV is a draw segment. One of, yes. It'll definitely be one of. Megan says, I'm not going to use the indie audience for something personal. It's not fair of me to do that. Fair enough. Your choice. I promote on Twitter, but honestly, I'm terrified to do that. Self-promotion is not something I can do at all. Yeah, I completely understand. I have not promoted anything today. And it's one of those. I did hit 10,000 followers. Lately, I've been advertising a lot more. That's been whittling down because it does drive people away. That's just the reality of the situation. It's unfortunate, but it is the nature of the beast, and it's one of those things you just have to accept. What I would suggest, Megan, Reddit, particular Reddits for the particular games you're playing, and don't necessarily talk about streaming, just talk about the game, have a link for it. That can be very, very beneficial. Megan says, Becky Liv being the main event, given it's the anniversary of Trish Lita main event today. It's what I was hoping for. I just didn't have faith in the WWE to actually do it. I'm glad to see that I was wrong. Hello, Wiggly. How you doing, man? And Jermaine is here as well saying hi, Tom. Plenty of people coming in. YouTube is starting to fill up. Twitch is starting to fill up. Always nice to see. If you're watching particularly on YouTube, please do remember to hit that like button. It does make a big difference, and I do very much appreciate it. We did gain another handful of subscribers today. I believe we're now up to, 767, which is pretty good. Pretty good. We are straight into the cage match. No messing around. Kevin Owens already going for the door, which is strange and not really his style. A very aggressive start on both sides. You wouldn't go for the... Kevin Owens would not just go for the door. Although I never understand why more people don't go for the door. It's one of those. I expect people to be smarter. It doesn't always pay off. It really doesn't always pay off. Oh, I have just realised we're actually getting one more. 768. Very nice indeed. It's a good day. It's a very good day. What have we got? Sean says, do you think escaping the cage is a stupid rule for a cage match? Honestly, I don't, especially with the fact that Hell in a Cell exists. If you've got a Hell in a Cell, if you've got an elimination chamber, the point of a cage being locked in, it doesn't quite do the job. Not quite. I would much rather have something you can escape and just be smarter than your opponent. When Kevin Owens got thrown off the cage by Braun Strowman, for example, he outsmarted him. With pain. With pain. Regular says City at top of the table and staying there. We'll see, man. We'll see. Still plenty of time left in the season. Megan says, I have my streams since I restarted saved, and at some point I want to upload them to YouTube, but it's just making that jump. It also depends, to be fair, Megan, on the editing that you put into it. If you're doing highlight reels, they rarely work, but one of your best bets, or your best options, is very short, potentially viral clips for TikTok and the like. There's a reason I don't really upload many highlight reels or anything on YouTube. In my experience, it doesn't work. But we can have more conversations about this. I'm more than happy to jump into it. And what I've learned over my time trying to do this, and in many ways failing, and then tweaking, and then succeeding a little more, and so on and so forth. Marcus says, what's Gargano going to say tomorrow? Hey, I'm not staying with WWE, but watch me on TNT. Probably, yeah. Probably something like that. He'll probably say goodbye. He won't say anything about where he's going next. And he'll say, thank you very much. And I think that'll be it. Wiggly says, do you think KO should have been pushed more over the years? Yes and no. He's always been very high level, proper upper mid-card, lower main event status. There's nothing wrong with that. He's never going to be higher up than a Seth or a Roman. If he stuck around, there would be more championship opportunities. I just don't think there'd be more championships. And that's the shame. Jermaine says, I'm glad that WWE is honouring the Trish and Lita match tonight with the Becky versus Liv match. My only problem is there won't be a title change. My prediction, Liv wins by DQ. That's where I'm going as well. I definitely feel like Liv is going to take the win, but not in a convincing manner. And Someone7 says, could you see Seth win the title at day one? He's my favourite. As in, he's my favourite to win the match. Not he's my favourite, although he is my favourite. I could definitely see Seth taking the championship at day one, Big E winning the Royal Rumble, and then Big E versus Seth to reclaim the championship at WrestleMania. But they wouldn't have either of the main events, so would it be worth it? Sean says, I think Swole could come to WWE to move Cedric in the Hurt business. I don't see that coming. Last I heard, there's just not much interest in Big Swole from the WWE. There just isn't much interest. I think that's a shame, but at the same time, if they're not interested, they're not interested. We can't be prescriptive on that. We really can't. Megan, I was much the same. You do get used to it. Wiggly says, I think he was taken down a peg or two after he was squashed by Goldberg, just so he was being built up well. He was being built up pretty well in that period. And yeah, he got taken down. But here's the thing. First championship reigns, he actually had an extremely good one compared to the majority of people. Your first championship reign is rarely a long one and rarely a particularly memorable one. I mean, look at Jericho's first championship reign. Look at CM Punk's first championship reign. Hell, look at Roman's first championship reign. They're rarely the most memorable. Marcus said, even Adam Cole never had a chance to say goodbye to NXT. Yeah, because Adam Cole was going to AEW and he didn't hide that. Vince would not have given him that platform. Wiggler said, I think Goldberg squashing Bray took away from The Fiend's aura. Basically, as soon as The Fiend debuted, the WWE were chipping away at that aura. Just chipping away at it. The Fiend did not work in a wrestling ring. It just plain didn't. Sean says, I know Small was in WWE once for the Mae Young Classic. I think that was a season Kyrie won. I can't really remember, but that's fine. I just know that there's not much interest from WWE. Not right now. You've got to remember, during the Mae Young Classic, they were trying to hire more people and more people and more people. And that's what got them into the situation where they had to release that many people. Wiggly says, I could envisage Owens winning at day one, then feuding with Rollins. I really can't. I really can't. This match is for Big E. Big E is the story here. Kevin Owens is not the story. He's just still there. Jermaine says, if Kevin goes for the door, there is a chance of Seth Rollins interfering by slamming the door in his face, costing him tonight's match as revenge for what he did last week. Wasn't Seth Rollins the problem last week? As I recall, Seth Rollins attacked Kevin Owens last week. Wiggly says, Bray losing to Cena at WrestleMania 30 took away from the aura. That's Bray Wyatt. He did not work in a wrestling ring. He never did. Because he would just constantly lose. A character like that either wins everything or they go out the door. And he went out the door. Sean says, is Owens gone by the Royal Rumble? Yes. Oh. Lovely moonsault. Lovely. Jermaine says, I believe Johnny Gargano tomorrow night will say that he's taking maternity leave to be with his wife and he needs more time to think about things. Yeah, but his contract's up. That would be a lie. He knows exactly what he wants to do. Wiggly says, Brock Lesnar could win the Royal Rumble. He is the favourite at the moment. Megan says, Big Swole was in the 2018 Mae Young Classic, won by Tony Storm. Kyrie won the 2017 tournament. Thank you, Megan, for that stat correction. Wiggly says, surprise Cena return at the Royal Rumble. Why? What's the point? I know people are really excited for returns. John Cena is he has the pedigree of a serial loser at this point. Nobody would believe he stood a chance. And I don't think he'd get that big a pop because he was back recently and it's John Cena. So like, seriously, why? If given the choice of surprises, I would rather take someone else who hasn't been there for longer. I'd rather take a Scott Hall, a Diesel. I'd rather take a a random appearance from a Matt Hardy if they can engineer that. You know, there's options. I'd rather have Bron Breakker in the Royal Rumble than John Cena. Wiggly Cena does not want to break that record. He has no interest in becoming a record championship holder. I reported that one a long time ago, actually, thinking back. I was proud of that report. I was very proud of it. That was one that got me called a liar a few times. And then he still hasn't won any further championships. Noob says we'll see a surprise return tonight during the Liv versus Becky main event. Why do you say that, Noob? Why do you say that? Marcus says I'm still 90% sure Johnny Gargano is leaving and going to AEW. Well, he is leaving. And he may at some point go through AEW. Wiggly says rather Sting back for one night. Oh, you just break him. He'd just break. They wouldn't risk it. Someone 7 says who do you see Drew wrestling at WrestleMania? If not Roman, it's hard to say. He may end up taking on Sheamus. Noob says we might see Alexa Bliss come back. That would be true of every single Monday Night Raw. You are guessing, but it's okay because you can afford to be excited. I'm just surprised you said Alexa Bliss and not Asuka because, you know, it's you. If you are watching on YouTube, please remember to hit that thumbs up button. There are currently 9 viewers and only 3 likes. I would appreciate it if we could just click that thumbs up, as that will pretty much guarantee me additional viewers, and that means more growth and a further elevation of the channel. Every little does help, and I would very much appreciate it. I've got to say, Kevin Owens is bringing it tonight. The moonsault, the sunset flip powerbomb, he's showing off, and I have no issue with that. Big E's taken a beating. He's putting over Kevin Owens in a way here. KJ says he may have spoken about it on Spoiler Warning, but speaking of KO leaving, what did you think about KO being booked for a March match, or is it simply just a card subject to change type of thing? I did not mention that, KJ, but thank you for bringing it up, and thank you very much for letting me know, because that wasn't something that I spotted. At the moment, Kevin Owens is apparently booked for a match in March. That is for a live show, so it is ticket sales that is the main reason for that match to be advertised. I don't believe he will be there at that time. I simply don't believe it. I think it is just purely a draw section, just to try and guarantee viewership, or ticket sales I should say. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's always been the WWE thing, and I don't necessarily think he's going to be there. KJ says Drew versus Sheamus for the IC title at Mania maybe. I'd have no issue with that. Those two have very good wrestling matches, and I'm happy to see more. Noob says expectations have to be lowered. Remember, who knows? Asuka returns at some point. She will return some point soon. She's nearly ready. Meanwhile, Alexa Bliss is ready. Wiggly says KO's always been a great performer, which is absolutely correct. If anything, he's too reliable, and I think Vince takes his eye off the ball if you're a bit too reliable. Sean says there's Seth. I think you're a little bit ahead of me there, Sean, but that's fine. You guys enjoy the show. Go nuts. I do like that they have a specialist hashtag for Steel Cage match. I wonder if they'll have a specialist hashtag for Miz TV. They'll probably have one there. I wonder if they'll have one for Becky and Liv as well. You must be way ahead of me because I haven't seen Seth. Wiggly says, I mean, back to WrestleMania when the rain delayed the card, putting KO on a spontaneous promo is great on the mic and in ring. He was not the only one though. Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Miz. I think Seth Rollins. Definitely Miz. Braun Strowman was a featured player in that segment. Kevin Owens was one of the most trusted, and he did the best job, in my opinion, but he wasn't the only one. And I do feel he's one of those. He's so reliable that Vince knows he can call on him at any point. That's what's preventing him from getting the proper push. Wiggly says Asuka has to return. Yeah, she's employed. It's in her contract. She has to return. There he is. Took a while. Seth slams the cage door, technically on both Big E and Kevin Owens, but I think Big E was the only one even close enough to it. Wiggly, I don't think he would be. Mostly because everyone who goes to AEW tends to go through a similar process. They may get a championship match. After that, they will go way down the card to like the mid card at best. Every Asuka fan does, Wiggly. If you're an Asuka fan, you're going to want Asuka back soon. Much like I'm an Alexa Bliss fan, I want Alexa Bliss back soon. That's how it goes. That's how it should be. If you're a fan, you want to see your favourites. That's all it is. And it's a good place to be. So we have our second commercial break. It does like we're going to get a full half hour of this match, which, I got to be honest, I'm enjoying it. I'm not going to complain. I'm very happy with the situation. What can I say? I just enjoy wrestling matches. I just enjoy wrestling matches. And hey, if there's a cage involved, I'm going to take it. If I get an option of a cage, I'll absolutely take it. That's the way to be. KJ said he's in the main event right now. Is he? Is he? Because I think the main event of Raw is Becky Lynch. I know. I really hope that Big E, Seth and KO main event day one. I think they should. I think they're in a great position for it right now. I think that's one of the reasons Becky isn't wrestling Liv at day one. I think that's one of the reasons Roman hasn't necessarily got an opponent ready for day one just yet. They're building to something, obviously, but the match isn't ready for it. Now's the time to push Big E, but I don't think we're necessarily looking at the main event there. Omega says, would love to see my favourite. Yeah, it's unfortunate that she's definitely no longer with them. Sean says, may I ask what made you a fan of Alexa Bliss? She opened her mouth and started talking. That was pretty much it. The first week, the script was awful. The second week, when she interrupted to challenge Becky Lynch and beat her, that was pretty good. She started talking and I just loved it. And we are still there now. Every time she opens her mouth, it's just incredible. I love a talker. It's why I love The Miz. It's why I love Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. It's why I love Jay White. There are so many great talkers whose work I really enjoy. And for me, that's what made Alexa Bliss one of my favourites. True, KJ. At that point, he was main event. He's, as I said, he's too reliable. He can dip in and out, but he's never going to crack through. Marcus says Brock probably wins at day one. He doesn't. Then Roman will win the Royal Rumble. He won't. Then the WrestleMania final, Brock versus Roman. Maybe, but the other two things won't be happening. As Wiggly says, Roman is not losing that belt anytime soon. He's not. He's absolutely not. He's going all the way to Mania at least for me. KJ says it's Brock versus Roman at day one. It is. It is. I'm interested to see how that plays out. Would be the perfect time for Paul Heyman to get involved and essentially turn Roman face, if that's going to work. I don't think it will. Marcus says it's WWE, remember? Yeah, but we don't automatically have to assume the worst every single time. Betting against Roman is something that you definitely shouldn't be doing. Nobody should. Wiggly says, not a huge Alexa Bliss fan, but oddly I had a lot of respect for her after she sent that nice reply to the fan who asked her out. She let him down gently. She's good at that because she gets a lot of that. Like a lot of that. Way too much of that. Wiggly says Roman could be champion Mania. I stand firm. I believe he'll be champion until about May, June time. It's what I've thought for months now. Don't get me wrong, guys. This is just my opinion. But hey, if I could... This is my chat room. This is my channel. I can afford to be a little bit dogmatic. I'm sure you'll all agree. I think Big E's gearing up for the Uranagi. You guys will already know because you guys are ahead of me, but... Oh no. That's not quite what I thought he was going for. I like that Seth is looking terrified outside the ring. He's just looking very nervous, even though he doesn't really have a vested interest here. He just wants everyone to beat the crap out of each other. He must feel like Bret Hart. Love a good frog splash. Hooks the out... No, he hooks the inside leg, and that's why he didn't win. You guys know the rules. Always hook the outside leg. Always hook the outside leg. The inside leg shouldn't even exist. Ignore the inside leg. Pretend it doesn't. Pretend it's not there. Pretend there is no inside leg. Oh, God, that's a bump and a half. The man knows how to bump. He really does. Makes me nervous as hell, but he knows how to bump. Sean says something that made me a fan of Alexa was when she told her story about her struggles with her anorexia. Very sad story. There is a video on WWE's YouTube something like My Daughter is a WWE Superstar, where they just spend 10 minutes talking about Alexa Bliss's past and learning more about her. And there's one for Finn Balor as well. There's more, but I can't remember who they are. But I know that Finn Balor and Alexa Bliss both have them. They are really good viewing. Really good viewing, really worth watching. Okay, just says, I was a fan since day one with Bliss. The moment she cut a promo, I was sold. The first week she was featured, when everyone cut like a 20-second promo as they introduced the entire division, didn't like that. The next week, very much so. A pop-up sit-out powerbomb. I will take that. Is there, Sean? I did not realise that. Seth trying to rile up, saying, come on, Memphis. I like it. There is a very distinct group of wrestlers that you're a big fan of, Wiggly. I'm not at all surprised with the name you've just mentioned. Kevin Owens nearly escaping the cage. Don't know why he didn't go through the door. I mean, he's gone through the door all the other times, but this time now I'll go over. Ethan says, hey Tom. Hello Ethan, how are you? And Noob says, Rollins is a tweener. No, he's a heel. Why would you think he's a tweener? He has shown nothing to suggest he's a tweener. He's been a heel the entire time. Hello Tommy, how you doing? Says, best era is the Ruthless Aggression era 2004 to 2010. Disagree. I actually quite like this era. I know there are bad times, but this SmackDown with Roman as champion, I'm there for it. Well, that should be that. But Big E, for some reason, not going for the pin. Ethan says, who's winning, Becky or Liv? Watch the show, Ethan. Megan says, if Roman remains champion past May 25th, 2022, he'll be the longest reigning Universal Champion ever. Officially, that is. Unofficially, would actually be May 28th, 2022. I believe that's one of the reasons I believe he'll still be champion beyond that. It just makes the most sense for me. Big E has escaped the cage and won the match. Kevin Owens takes the loss. And then Big E immediately gets attacked by Seth Rollins. Which is right. That is correct. Wiggly believes in the Attitude Era. I enjoyed the Attitude Era at the time. I would not enjoy the Attitude Era now. Anyone who professes to like great wrestling, there is no point watching the Attitude Era. No point. Absolutely no. Tommy says, one reason I don't like the era too goofy is bad promo and backstage promo too. You mean that you don't like the era that you just mentioned? Or do you mean the Attitude Era? Can you clarify for me? And Wiggly says, WCW 94 to 98 was great. Yep, just as the NWO started to get involved, yep. And then there was too much. Then there was just too much. The cage just vanished immediately. Big E getting a little bit of revenge there. He's going after Kevin Owens again as well. Not a face moment there. Another big ending for Kevin Owens. Big E stands tall. There are quite a few weeks ahead where they're going to have to basically shake it up and try and work out who is going to stand tall at the beginning, who's going to stand tall at the end, and different people are going to be in different positions. There's going to be quite a lot going on there. But at least for this week, Big E gets to hold his championship and just be a very, very happy man. Just be a very, very happy man. He is definitely starting to feel now that he's properly separate from the New Day. I don't necessarily like that because I like the New Day, but he definitely feels very distinct from Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston now, whereas previously he did still feel like Big E of the New Day. He just didn't feel like he had the New Day behind him at the time. Tommy says, in 2022, I wish for a new face debut. Maybe Braun Breaker. Omega says, I actually really liked WWE in 2006 when Kurt was on top. Kurt Angle was a wonderful, wonderful character, and then just a wonderful, wonderful wrestler. He added a lot to the WWE, and they have missed having someone like him. Just a classic, tremendous wrestler who can take the piss out of himself. It was good times. WCW did give us some good times, Wiggly, and then it died on its arse. Tommy says he prefers previous to New Day Kofi. I don't. I'm very much a New Day fan. Larry, welcome, says, hello, have I missed much? You've missed a cage match. It was fairly classic. Big E got the win. There was some Seth Rollins interference, and then Big E stood tall at the end. That's basically everything you need to know about that cage match. So I can't necessarily say you've missed all that much. Wiggly says, how would Kenny Omega do in WWE in a parallel universe? Well, that depends on the booking in the parallel universe. I have no idea, mate. Is this a parallel universe where Vince is still in charge? Is this a parallel universe where Vince still likes the big guys, or does he like the smaller guys? Is this a parallel universe where Adam Cole has changed the mind of Vince, as Adam Cole did? Is it a parallel universe where Sasha Banks is still Vince's favourite person in the world? You gotta set more parameters than that, man. Tommy says old Drew is better than new Drew. Do you mean like, do you mean three-man band Drew? You definitely mean three-man band Drew. Omega says Kenny is the GOAT. I'm not there for it. I think he's a great wrestler, but I look at Jay White, I look at Kazuchika Okada, I think there's better out there. Wiggly said I could see Christian coming back to WWE at some point. Same, I could definitely see him in the Rumble even this year. I think a deal could be made there. Tommy says The Miz never changes, which is not at all true. Did you see his debut? Did you see it? He was the guy from the real world in the hat with the frosted tips. This Miz is nothing like that. Sean says, I remember the night on WCW Nitro when they spoiled Mankind winning the WWE title. Yep, and 500,000 people turned over. Willie says, could Darby Allin ever do well in WWE? I suspect he isn't Vince's type. Who knows? No idea. We're back in the parallel universe again. Wiggly says, I always wanted Cody to be WWE champ. Vince didn't. Nobody in creative did. Nobody saw long term for Cody. And he hasn't done anything in particular to convince me that he is championship material so far. He's done well in AEW, certainly. But the AEW championship is very well protected. And I think it's a good thing that Cody can't win it, at least not for a while yet. Megan believes that Darby would not fare well in WWE. They'd want to change too much about him to make him more marketable. And I get that. I definitely get that. The WWE do have that habit, just trying to make everything as marketable as possible. Even though, to be honest, that's just something you have to consider. Some people just aren't that marketable, and some people, stop trying to market them, it'll all work out. Wait, what have we missed? Big E was celebrating a second ago, I've gone to commercial break, and now he's knackered. Did they just keep fighting afterwards? What the hell happened? Tommy says the female roster needs to change for better in 2022. Tommy, explain yourself on that one. Literally, just full on explain yourself on that one. Because I have no idea what you're saying there. You said it needs to change for the better. What does that mean? Larry says WWE do like getting their money's worth out of a cage. I can respect that. That is true. Oh, okay. It's Bobby Lashley. Okay. And that happened during the commercial break. I can kind of get behind that. Every now and then you have to do something during a commercial break, otherwise people will tune out. This explains KJ, the match that you sent me. I was wondering what Lashley was going to do. Starting to suspect he might want in on that day one match. Be a hell of a fatal four-way. Wiggly says in the UK they edited out the Mankind spoiler. Good, so they should. Omega says Kenny as the cleaner was probably my favourite version. That was a good time, but I liked him early Elite. Although I liked him a lot in different things as well, to be fair. Wiggly says, do you think Bryan, Punk and Cody will be AEW champs eventually? No idea. Tommy says, I love to see Toxic Attraction debut in WWE in the Royal Rumble. Bit early for me, especially when you consider that Mandy Rose was just moved down. Wiggly misses Cole, JR and King on Raw commentary. I don't. I full on do not. Jerry Lawler does not deserve to be anywhere near a commentary desk, at the very least. J-Dub, welcome mate. Says, just curious if anyone has Liv Morgan winning the match / title tonight. I don't. I still think it'll be a very good match, but I definitely don't see Liv winning. Absolutely, KJ, you're spot on. They've run down the draw segments for the rest of the night. That being the Women's Championship match and, of course, Miz TV. Okay. So we do need new competitors to take on RK Bro. So we're having RK Bronament. Street Profits versus AJ Styles and Amos. And then Rey and Dominic Mysterio versus Alpha Academy. I kind of think Alpha Academy are winning this. I feel quite confident that Alpha Academy are winning this. Let's see how that goes. Queen Zelina alongside Carmella is heading down to the ring. Carmella definitely not dressed to wrestle. Definitely not dressed to wrestle. But Zelina is. I'm guessing this is going to be Zelina Vega versus Nikki Cross. She has a very good accent, Zelina does. Wiggly says, is Starrcade happening again this year? I wish WWE pushed it as a legit event. Yes, it is planned at some point. They're just trying to work out what would be the best city for it. Tommy, I'm really not understanding what you're saying here. I don't think she needs to find a new friend. I think she has friends. I think she's quite popular backstage. Megan says, the only way for me that Liv wins is by DQ. I do think it'll be a DQ, so technically I probably should say that Liv does win. I don't think she'll be leaving with the championship. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Wiggly says, never been a Nikki Cross fan. I have been. I've never liked her characters. I've never enjoyed her characters. I very much respect the person. Having met her and interviewed her, it was probably the best interview I've ever done. Genuinely. I don't see a Rhea Ripley. There's a Rhea Ripley. Yeah, Nikki Cross needs a rebuild. Definitely needs a rebuild. Carl, she definitely did not. In fact, she's challenging for the championship tonight. J-Dub says, this may have been covered before, but why do people who become king or queen feel like they need an accent? Because of the royalty aspect. They're just trying to stand out, same as anybody else. That's what it's all about. Sean says, Jim Cornette said AEW's booking of Adam Cole has been awful. Well, that's Jim Cornette's opinion. So I don't hold any value on it. I don't value Jim Cornette's opinion. Megan says, Nikki has a secret. Nikki in NXT was great. That storyline was very good and she played a very important part in it. And KJ says, as long as Cole is happy. Yeah. Like, genuinely. Yeah, I don't care. If he's happy just being in a 4-minute cruiserweight match once a month, then who are we to judge? Like, genuinely, who are we to judge? If he's happy, go ahead. Wiggly says, I mean, I like her doing well as a British-Scottish wrestler. Oh, Nikki, yeah. I thought you meant Zelina Vega. I thought you were convinced by the accent. No, once again, Carl. No one's got fired. Well, a lot of people got fired, to be fair. I suspect you don't watch a lot of wrestling recently. Wiggly says, I wish they'd pushed a bigger Nikki versus Alexa angle. Me too. There's still a feel of unfinished business there. And Nikki's very different now. It wouldn't really work out. Yes, Carl, Jim Cornette is still around. Now he has a podcast and he just won't shut up. Noob says, normal Nikki Cross, meh. Nikki Ash is random for me. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either. It didn't make any sense to me. Megan says, Adam Cole just wants to do his thing and play Halo. Yeah. The selling point was Twitch. So even if he's way down the card, he's not going to care. He has to play Twitch. Well, he gets to be on Twitch. Fair enough, Carl. That does happen sometimes. People drop in because they're like, oh, wrestling. I'll see what's going on. Sometimes they come back. Sometimes they don't. But it's always nice to have a few conversations with people and let them in on like the big changes. You may like this, Carl. I don't know when you've watched last, but let's suggest. The best thing about WWE, and I mean this legitimately, is Roman Reigns. I'm interested to see how you react to that one, because that is full on the case. Code Red, that is Alina's finisher. Nikki Cross takes a clean loss. Zelina Vega is actually getting a proper push. KJ says it would be nice to have Zelina and Mella walk into Mania as champs so they can make cars. Along with the top women like Rhea, Bianca and Becky. Make cars? I'm confused. I'm very confused. Yeah, mine's very, very far behind, J-Dub. I'm having some issues. BT Sport is not very good, basically. I've had to buffer a little bit so it'll stop buffering during the show. Make the card. Go to KJ. That makes sense, KJ. Yeah, I've had to essentially just push it back quite significantly. Looks like our second hour draw segment, almost as usual at this point, is going to be Randy Orton. To be fair, it looks like if it's the first match, it'll be Street Profits versus AJ Styles and Amos. A lot of draw segments there. A lot of draws there, I should say. Carl says, the last time I watched the Survivor Series, when I watched Raw wrestlers beat SmackDown wrestlers and Banks got screwed. Banks got screwed? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you're definitely very aware of the fact that Roman Reigns is just the best. He's suddenly become the best thing in wrestling. Noob says Riddle is something else, like he's referencing Home Alone. I don't know what the hell to call Matt Riddle, other than not there. Megan says, I want Nikki to be a supervillain instead and just go on a rampage. Maybe that's where they're heading. I hope that's where they're heading. They kind of need it. Wiggly says Matt Riddle is a 2021 Zack Ryder. Disagree in a very big way. In a very big way. Omega says you cannot convince me that Riddle does not sniff 2 lines of cocaine before every show. I'd like to try and convince you, but I don't think I have a leg to stand on. I don't see it. She will, Carl. Sasha Banks will win the championship many more times, I'm sure. I just hope she gets a bit of a longer reign for once. A definitive reign, as it were. I guess she's another one that's just... She's been too reliable over the years. Are we serious with this Blazer thing? No way in hell, he says. We haven't seen Vince McMahon yet, or Austin Theory. Matt Riddle using the audience there to really push. If you're watching on YouTube, please do remember you can click the like button, that little thumbs up, and it will make a massive difference to the show, to the potential audience, and to my growth as a channel. I do very much appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, please do click subscribe. It can make a massive difference, can ensure more views, faster growth, and of course, that means the potential to go full-time doing these shows, which I would very much enjoy, so please do consider it. Randy actually looked quite good in that blazer. Looks quite good in that. I was a Shawn Michaels fan as well, Carl. Though I was, when it came to Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, I was a Bret Hart fan. Okay, now the blazer doesn't work. Now the blazer doesn't work. The shorts are what ruin it. For some reason, Matt Riddle in his tiny, tiny shorts, that looks better than Randy Orton in his baggy ones. Noob says Orton wants to hurt Riddle at some point. Oh, he will. He absolutely will. Wiggly said Riddle gets high without drugs. That's not true. And also says I want the blazer in black. That could work. That could work a bit better. Sean thinks Randy is rocking it. And Jermaine says if you notice when Randy Orton has the blazer on, as he's walking down the ramp, it almost looks like his shorts, because the blazer looks like a kilt. I did like that. That's true. That's fair. Let me try and refresh this. And try and catch up a little bit. KJ says, I know it's still early, but is it possible RK Bro doesn't break up until after Mania instead of before? Honestly, I think that's more likely. I do find it likely they will wait until after WrestleMania, just because I feel Ray versus Dominic is en route. I think that will be a WrestleMania match, because that's when Ray will step away. Megan says, I'm convinced that blazer has tearaway sleeves. You and your tearaway, you just want to Sorry. Wiggly says Riddle accidentally cost Randy the Rumble, then they split. Maybe, I don't know, but the thing is, you could do that with every tag team. It's an issue. Jermaine says, hey Tom, you're watching Hawkeye on Disney Plus? Not yet. Mostly because I just haven't had any time. Here's some good news. Here's some good news, right? Here's some good news. Next week, I have a week off work. A whole week off. Do you guys remember when I was unemployed and doing these shows? How was I not streaming more? How was I not streaming more? I'm still managing to stream about the same amount, but I'm working full time. How was I not streaming more? I have a week off next week, a whole week off, to get Christmas shopping done, spend some time with the girlfriend and the family, and just have fun. I'm going to do a lot of sleeping. Like a lot of sleeping. You guys remember that over the last few weeks, I've not been the most reliable because I've been knackered. Like full on exhausted. Week off. Catch up on sleep. Then it's Christmas. Life's going to be good. Life's going to be real good. I'm very excited. Should I record a Christmas message? I should record a Christmas message as well, shouldn't I? I've never had to do that before. Carl says, is Trish Stratus coming back? Yes. Yes, she is. Probably for the Royal Rumble. Larry says, I think RK Bro is staying together long term as nobody expects it. I think it'll be quite a long time. One thing I do believe is that the WWE usually wait until the talk about a breakup has died down a little bit and then pull the trigger. Carl says, can you tell me if Liv Morgan wins the belt or not? I could, but I won't. I don't know. Even if I did, I wouldn't want to say so. Now, I do have, Carl, you may want to subscribe, because we do have a show called Spoiler Warning, which happens 10 p.m. UK time, that's 5 p.m. Eastern time, Mondays and Fridays. Today, for example, we talked about the future of the Undisputed Era. We talked about two people who are going to be main eventing WrestleMania this year, and we talked about the plan for Becky and Liv tonight. So you may be interested in some of that, because we do actually share quite a lot of news, to the point where as of today, 3 months ago, we reported that Kairi Sane would be leaving the company very shortly. She's now left the company. I also have been tracking Bayley's return schedule. And in tracking Bayley's return schedule, of course, I may have accidentally been one of the main reasons that she's now the favourite to win the Royal Rumble. Sorry. I also may not. That is very tongue-in-cheek when I do that. Oh, one other thing I do want to talk about. As part of the setup for Dual Stream, I have a merch store. I have no idea what to do with it, but I have one. I have a merch store. So, I'm looking for a design for Spoiler Warning. Now, I do already have one, but the person who designed it is not currently... what the hell? Oh, Jerry Lawler. Oh, Jerry Lawler. Don't even look at her. Rhea's going to punch him. Oh, come on. I thought Rhea was going to punch him. It's Memphis, so I get why they did that, but I'm still not happy about it. So yeah, I have a merch store, so I'm looking for designs for spoiler warning, because that, I think we spoke about this. And, oh, Jermaine. That's such a good call. Anyway, before I jump into that, I have a merch store. I'm looking for designs for spoiler warning because I believe we all agreed that's the one thing that would work. Pardon me. All I have to do is submit a design. They will stick it on a t-shirt and it will be available to purchase. I won't have to do it. Pardon me again. I won't have to do a thing. So I will be thinking about that in the next few days. Trying to get a design done. Trying to do something with it. And see how it plays out. Just so everyone knows. Sean says AJ Styles. And indeed it is. He's a beautiful man, isn't he? He's a beautiful man. Carl believes The Rock is going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. He absolutely will not be doing that. The Rock will not be winning a championship ever again. Megan, as regards the King, just says, ooh, no. Which is fair. Jermaine says, Tom, are you going to the movies to watch Spider-Man No Way Home next week? I forgot that everything's coming out on the 17th. So you know what? Yes, I am. I've been trying to find an excuse to go to the cinema for months. I just want to get out into the world. Hopefully it's not all shut down by then. Because all the experts are saying this movie can be as big as Avengers Endgame. Definitely the blockbuster of the year. Same day, Witcher Season 2 comes out. I'm hyped. Megan says at least he didn't obviously try and look down Rhea's top. Now I'm going to be honest with you. I was keeping an eye because I thought he would. Ugh. No, noob. Jerry Lawler is not back to WWE full-time. He lives locally. He made an appearance to get a pop. KJ says Jerry's from here, right? He is. Also, earlier it was said he and Maryse both signed today by a lot of websites, Fightful, Ringside, etc. Oh, so he has actually signed something. Ugh. I know that earlier today I did see websites saying Maryse had signed. If you watched Spoiler Warning on Friday, you would know that Maryse had signed. I got there a little bit before they did. I did a whole video on it. Jermaine says if Jerry Lawler just did that scene backstage, that means he's doing Raw Talk tonight. Probably. Yes, that's actually a good shout. Sean says when will channel points come back? They probably won't for a while. I need to work out how to work that with the dual stream. So that's something I'm looking into. I want to sort of, as we move towards Tom Colohue 2.0, TDC 2.0, as we move towards TDC 2.0, I will be considering that. Street Profits are not feeling like the big deal on Raw that they were on SmackDown, but I'm okay with it. They have been pushed very strong, so it's good every now and then to just let it rest a little bit and rebuild over time. I'm sure The Rock will be back, Carl. I just don't think he's winning the championship. Noob says, will we see the Street Profits use a fire extinguisher for the second time in a row? Hopefully. Sean says, did Maryse re-sign as a wrestler or a manager? Both. Both. It's a very similar contract to her previous one in that it doesn't implicitly say manager or wrestler, but the plan is to very rarely have her wrestle. Is it a one-night arcade bronament? Because I like the... Why do I... I'm actually leaning into the arcade bronament phrase. And like, I'm not annoyed at myself for it. I'm actually embracing it. Ooh, Bianca Belair versus Doudrop tonight. We're going to get 3 women's matches tonight. No, he's not your dad, Riddle. He's not your dad. There's some really creepy things that come out of Matt Riddle's mouth. I just want to say there's some really creepy things that come out of his mouth, and I'm not particularly comfortable. I don't see it, Carl. I just don't see it. Thank you for joining us, by the way, Carl. I know this is your first time here that I can remember, at least, and you're jumping in with a lot of conversation. I appreciate that. Please do continue it. You're very welcome here. Sean says Scarlett appeared at an indie show to gave a Canadian Destroyer to a guy. Yeah, she's actually really good. Like, she's actually a genuinely good wrestler that the WWE just didn't use at all. Just didn't use at all. In no way. One kid trying to get an AJ Styles chant going. I respect the hell out of that kid. Respect the hell out of it. There is someone who has the username of Liv Morgan saying, "Where is Liv Morgan?" Well, she'll eventually be on your TV. She's booked for a match. She can't be there every second of the day. Come on. Come on. Come on. Cal says, what women's matches are coming up? Bianca Belair versus Doudrop and Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan still to come. That have been announced so far. We did just have Zelina Vega versus Nikki Cross. If you're not a regular viewer, I do definitely advise tuning in for Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Also, having it in my title for the YouTube video seems to be doing very good things for my overall views and very bad things over my average watch time. It looks like people are just tuning in expecting to find the match. I say full show watch party right afterwards. But no, people are just tuning in, seeing Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch and clicking away. Clicking away. We are currently ongoing with a watch party of WWE Raw, which looks like it will be main evented by Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. If you are new to the channel, please do consider, if you're on Twitch, hitting that follow button. That means you'll get a notification every time we go live. The same can be said if you subscribe on YouTube. You will get a notification when we go live for Spoiler Warning, which is our wrestling news show containing exclusive news you cannot find anywhere else, and our watch parties for Raw, SmackDown and pay-per-views. In the meantime, if you have not already done so, you can click like on the video. Every little thumbs up makes a big difference, guarantees more viewers, which potentially also with it guarantees more subscribers, faster growth for the overall channel, and a very, very happy Tom Colohue. And isn't that what we all want? A very, very happy Tom Colohue. Isn't that all that we all really want? No. But let's pretend for just a moment. No, Carl, I cannot tell you if Becky Lynch keeps the belt. I don't know what the answer is going to be. I don't know who's going to win the match. Carl says, when is the Royal Rumble? End of January. End of January. Sean says, pay-per-view on Saturdays next year is weird. So used to them on Sundays. Sean, I am so hyped up for Saturday pay-per-views. You have no idea how big a difference that's going to make to my damn life and my sleeping schedule. I cannot wait. It's going to be so, so good to actually be able to sleep on a Sunday before work on a Monday so that I can still watch Raw. I have not fully embraced it yet, but my God, I'm going to. Oh. Megan says Saturday pay-per-view shows make me very happy. Megan, do you agree with what I'm saying when I say that it feels like that brief week we had where Raw started at midnight? Even though it's only 1 hour, it feels the world better. The whole damn world better. Yes, Megan, the week of joy. Henceforth, the week of joy. Because the match hasn't happened, Carl. You're asking me to predict the future, or in fact tell you the future. The match hasn't happened. When the match happens, tell you what. At the end of Raw, when the match has happened, then I'll tell you who wins the match. Okay? We can definitely do that. Me and you. We got a connection now. We got a bond. We got a connection. Now, when it comes to this, it really depends who ends up being the winner, as it were. I don't think either of the teams in the ring right now are going to be taking on RK Bro. I don't see it. We've already seen so much Styles and Omos, and I just don't think the dynamic is there between Street Profits and RK Bro. Logically, then, it has to be someone on the other side. The Mysterios, that makes sense. Bobby Lashley, after all, has moved to a different feud. He's no longer involved with the Mysterios, so Mysterios don't really have anything to do. Also, of course, we have Alpha Academy. Now, if AJ Styles and Omos pick up the win, then the Mysterios are perfect in that role, and possibly future tag champs. But it would need to be the Street Profits picking up the win if the Alpha Academy is going to pick up the win. So I'm feeling Street Profits for the win here. And in addition, then the Alpha Academy. Jermaine says, I feel this time around when Sasha and Charlotte get in the ring for their feud for the SmackDown Women's title, I expect them to pull out moves that we've never seen them do before this time around. That is the style that they both go for. Sasha Banks usually before a big match will train with someone new in order to gain at least a couple of additional moves and surprise people. Charlotte Flair, meanwhile, is, by many accounts, still with Andrade, who has, of course, as we know, taught her a number of moves as well. No idea what you're saying there, Morgan. We're just going to go on Morgan for you. It's Morgan. One thing I will say. When it comes to Twitch versus YouTube, you're a little less discoverable. You're a lot less discoverable on Twitch, which means that you get, you tend to get actual people. You know? You tend to get actual people. Street Profits are in the ascendancy right now, almost on the ground, but how long for? Montez Ford, can he take out AJ? Now's the time. Now's the time. I'm sorry to hear that, Morgan. It's a shame. AJ Styles is confidently in the ascendancy all of a sudden. Oof. We do not see a lot of brainbusters. AJ wants Omos for the finish? No, Omos is still not on the apron. Why is Omos still not on the apron? He took a drop kick. It's not the worst thing in the world. There he is. Okay, why don't you go for the phenomenal forearm? Just accept the tag. Oh, we have tension. We have tension. Now this, surely this isn't going to be a count out. This is going to be a count out. This is genuinely going to be a count out. Do we have an impending AJ Styles Omos breakup? It's not the best finish. It's not the best finish. But it is a finish. AJ did lose, yes. Because of Omos. I think Omos has to accept the blame there. Because it was his fault. Guys, you need to have a word. AJ's right, you gotta listen. Oh, he's walking away. I still think it's too early for the breakup. Omos is still very green. At the same point, I'd still like to see Omos versus Lashley, so swings and roundabouts. Jermaine says, I honestly see Queen Zelina and Carmella losing those tag titles to a tag team on SmackDown. I just have a feeling it could be Naomi teaming with either Toni Storm or Aaliyah winning those titles. I think the only tag team on SmackDown at the moment is Shayna Baszler and Natalya. I do and don't want that. They're really going hard on the whole breaking news and rumor thing, aren't they? Bailey says, pound for pound, AJ Styles is the best wrestler in WWE. I agree with that. I completely agree. I think he is the best wrestler in the world. These two have a strange connection. Like, it's really there. KJ says the dream is AJ versus Edge at Mania. In reality, it's going to be Omos versus Edge. Omos versus AJ. Yeah, probably. There's going to be a lot of tag team breakups at this WrestleMania. That's all it is. Carl says, is Shayna Baszler still teaming with somebody? Yes, Natalya. But also, she is kind of alone. On SmackDown, she took on Sasha Banks in a 20-minute match. It was pretty good. Okay, Matt Riddle is doing a perfect impression of a backstage WWE reporter. They all ask really dumb questions because that's the script as well. What's Randy Orton doing during this time? Getting ready for an RKO? Just going to assume getting ready for an RKO. Come on, RKO. Where is Randy? Oh, he's still sat down. He hasn't even moved. Imagine being Randy Orton. He just got paid a lot of money to sit in a chair and do nothing. Life is good for that man. Megan says, I want Kayla and Kevin to yell at Riddle now for stealing their bit. I'd take it. I'd be happy with that. Adds a bit of character and personality to people who don't usually have it. Girl says, who won the match between Sasha Banks and Baszler? Sasha Banks won it with a bit of a roll-up, with a bit of a dodgy finish, but ultimately it was a finish. Baszler's not won a lot of matches recently. She's being featured more, and she's being featured stronger, but it's coming from a pretty weak point of start. I would like clarification as to whether the Arcade Tournament is a one-night tournament or if that's all we get this week. I wouldn't be upset with either one. Hello, Sarah Schreiber. Right. We're just after the second hour draw segment, so now's the ideal time for Becky Lynch. I'd imagine just after the third hour draw segment, we'll get Liv Morgan. All accurate from Becky. Megan says Riddle's music sounds like a GTA theme reject. Particularly, like, I can hear San Andreas, the loading bar, every time. Sean says, who answers Damien's open challenge? Finn Balor. Finn Balor. Give me Finn Balor. He's got nothing else to do. Becky Lynch rocking the massive shoulder game. The people don't want to tear her up. Where are you getting your information? Sorry, Megan. I know that would basically be a dream for you. There's a word that comes before the word dream, but I'm just not going to mention that. Just not going to mention it. Bit rude. Bit rude. Solid promo from Becky, just enough truth to be convincing. Like, she firmly believed it, and she's kind of right. They are playing very hard on the duality of Damian Priest. I'm not unhappy with it. He's wearing heel face today. Like, he's distinctly wearing heel face today. Probably the only man who will always have two names because of the duality. Up next. Good Raw so far. Megan says, I'm going to be mad now if that doesn't happen and your cherry coke should be cursed. We talked about this. We talked about this. Leave my cherry coke alone. Cherry Coke. J-Dub says the Damien Priest entrance is a step back from his original one in WWE. I did like he just rocked out a little bit in the first one. It's a real shame. I think the same with Baron Corbin. Carl says Becky's promos make her sound like The Rock. She's in the rock bottom. What's next to People's Elbow? If she asked for the People's Elbow, The Rock would say yes. Basically. Disagree, Carl. Cannot stand vanilla Coke. Cherry all the way. Oh. So we've spoken about the fact that we are dual streaming. We've spoken about the fact that we have a merch store now. Let's talk a little bit about the schedule going forward when it comes to Christmas. Now, I will not be streaming on YouTube tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a Twitch-only stream. I am probably going to go ahead and set up TDC Gaming, or Colohue Gaming as it were, depending on which one I choose, and get it started. I may as well, now I have dual stream capability, and I'm going to be streaming on Twitch tomorrow, I may as well at least try and dual stream when it comes to the Football Manager content. So I'll probably start setting that up and just see how it goes at this point. Unless someone else comes in with an offer. I'm pitching to a few people just to see if anyone else is interested in the stuff, but we'll see how it works out. In the meantime, of course, tomorrow, at least for now, until next year probably, will just be Football Manager, 6 PM UK time to 8 PM UK time, which is 1 PM Eastern time over in the US. If you're interested in football, you can jump on in. If you're interested in gaming, you can jump on in. And if you just want to come in and talk about wrestling, that's also an option, because we are still Ask Me Anything. Outside of that, we are of course not going to be delivering any more content until Friday, so 3 days later, which will be spoiler warning as per usual. Yay, thank you very much, Official Taven, for a YouTube subscription. That is the first time the YouTube subscription section has worked. That is the first time it has worked. Thank you very much, Official Taven. So Friday will be spoiler warning, so our news show, and of course will be our SmackDown watch party as well. 2 shows on Mondays, 2 shows on Fridays, and in the meantime there will be YouTube videos that are cut out of the spoiler warning from earlier today. A video on the Undisputed Era, a video on Johnny Gargano, and what they are planning to do next. There is more information from spoiler warning earlier, including a report on Jeff Hardy, an update on him. That may also end up on YouTube, but we'll have to wait and see as to what I end up doing there, because I don't really necessarily want to flood YouTube. We're just going to do what we can. J-Dub says this shouldn't even be a topic of conversation. Coke classic all the way. Now, J-Dub, I do respect what you're saying. I would just like to throw one thing back. Tiny purple cans. Look, a little purple. And that is all. Sean says root beer or cream soda. If I had to choose, I'd go root beer, because cream soda makes me sick. But if I didn't have to choose one, I would happily choose neither. Carl says, do you like college football? I only watch actual football, so, you know, where they kick the ball. Bailey says there were almost 30 combined viewers across the 2 streams at spoiler warning. There were. It was a very good day. This, for me, Bailey, and everyone really, shows that the dual stream system is working. That viewer number is higher. It just is. The watch time on YouTube is already going up, and because that's going up and people are starting to come to these shows, the subscriber gain has increased, the watch time has increased, the views have increased. We will be monetized on YouTube sooner rather than later with this as a business model. So that's the plan. It's working. I feel I made the right choice, and I'm very grateful of all the... Oh God. Megan, I deserve it. Damien Priest will be taking on Robert Roode. Do you reckon Finn Balor's going to be on TV this week? He's not really done anything on Raw, has he? He lost to Seth. That's about it. Jacob says, always hoped for more for and from Robert Roode, which I think is a good call. He's a talented man and will probably do very well with Damian Priest. But I got myself excited. I worked myself into a shoot when it came to Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Maybe one day. Welcome, Official Taven. Thanks for jumping in. Says you've got a new supporter found you today. Thank you, Taven. Welcome to the show. The subscription hopefully will pay off. There'll be plenty of news on these pages. The Bayley video is something that I reference quite a lot when it comes to Bayley's return schedule. But in addition, there's quite a lot of information on WWE 2K22 in a very recent video that you may enjoy. And of course, we do spoiler warning for news on Mondays and Fridays. We do watch parties for Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-views as well. So hopefully there's at least something there that can wet your whistle. Megan says, damn it, this match is going to be good, but I was hoping for Finn. I worked myself into a shoot. I regret it. I deserve it now. I deserve it. Hello, RKH. Welcome to the show as well. KJ says, I didn't want to say anything, but Roode versus Priest was confirmed by Fightful earlier. Appreciate you not saying anything there, KJ. I know we have our spoiler warning show, but I don't have Fightful Select. I'm not planning on buying Fightful Select. A lot of the news that I report does seem to end up on Fightful Select. I have questions about that, particularly as regards the Sonya Deville news, which I was way ahead of. The Edge news I was way ahead of. But it's one of those. Fightful Select has a lot of really good news, but they also have a lot of just pure spoilers, and I'm just not interested in those personally. My favourite football team, I watch Liverpool. I just like the way they play football. It's heavy metal football, what can I say? RKH says, who's your favourite wrestler? Jay White. If I was picking my favourite wrestler right now, it would be Jay White. Of all time, it would be Triple H. I just like a nasty heel. I just like a heel who just takes the piss out of everyone. Just has a massive smile on his face all the time. Essentially what I'm saying is, I like a dick. Tom Colohue, big fan of a dick. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It is all I'm saying. And Carl says Sasha Banks is my favourite. Fair. I definitely get that. Yes, RKH. I'm very happy to hear you say that. Breathe with a switchblade. Knife pervert for the win. Knife pervert for the win. Okay, KJ. Fair enough, KJ. I see what you're saying there, and I respect it. You are far from the only person who does that. Jermaine says, yesterday was a sad day for us Philadelphia Union fans. Lost in the championship to New York team. Gotta love soccer. I mean, you do. You do. There are some really good football teams in the US nowadays. For a while I watched Orlando City because they had Kaká, which doesn't sound like a name, but it is. KJ says, paying for wrestling news, it will be 3 minutes later. I get it. The amount of times I've seen something come out behind a paywall and I've just thought to myself, should I pay or should I wait? Because Wrestle Talk, Ringside News, What Culture, Wrestling Inc., Sportskeeda, all of them are going to publish it in about 2 minutes. All of them. Sean says, my favourite male wrestler is AJ Styles. Favourite women's wrestler is Alexa Bliss. I think AJ Styles is the best wrestler in the world. My favourite is Jay White. I really missed him from the G1 this year. Really missed him. I didn't watch much of it without him, to be completely honest. Germany plays some damn good football, Cobb. RKH says mine is Roman Reigns. Now's the time to be a Roman Reigns fan. Now is definitely the time. Roman is officially the guy, what can I say? Not a good guy. Not a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's the guy. I'll never get bored of that. He is the guy. If you are watching on YouTube and you've not yet done so, please do consider hitting that thumbs up. That like button does make a big difference in essentially guaranteeing viewership, guaranteeing views, guaranteeing watch time, and so on and so forth. My future essentially, or at least I'm hoping, is YouTube, Twitch, and long term continuing these watch parties and the news shows as we move into not just wrestling but also some gaming, some football stuff as we continue. Right now I'm focusing on the wrestling. That means this channel, which is purely wrestling for you guys. So every like, every chat, every subscription makes a massive difference, and I am very grateful to anyone who hits that thumbs up button. Sean says Finn and Damien have faced once before at NXT. Finn was the victor. I did not know that, Sean, or at least I didn't remember that. Good news, good news. Means I can look it up afterwards. RKH says it's the head of the table and the tribal chief. RKH, you go ahead and you acknowledge him, because I certainly will as well. Jermaine also says Sasha Banks is my favourite wrestler. A lot of Sasha Banks love in the chat today, always nice to see. J-Dub goes for it. Top 5 for favourite wrestlers. AJ Styles, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and in number 1, Bret Hitman Hart, with an honourable mention to The Rock and Owen Hart. That right there, damn good list. 3 of mine are in there. It's genuinely not hard to work out who's not in there, but 3 of mine are in there. KJ says, Tom and the rest of the chat, how would we feel about Bron Breakker entering the Rumble and winning either world title at Mania? I want him to enter. I think he will enter, and I think he should enter. However, I would not be happy with him winning. I think there are more deserving people. I would rather see Nakamura win, for example, again. I would like to see a number of other people take the opportunity. I think Bron Breakker would be skipping a few steps and stepping on a few toes. But that is just my opinion. What's my favourite anime series? Death Note. I don't watch a lot of anime. It tends to be the more approachable ones, such as, for example, Avatar: Last Airbender. Which was good. But of the anime I watch, Death Note for me. I just like the cerebral element of it. Omega has also given us a full list of his favourites. Nixon Newell, and in number 1, Nixon Newell. There is a committed man. Carl says Sasha Banks is the greatest women's champion of all time. Not sure I agree with you on that one, but I am a big fan. Jermaine says my favourite wrestler of all time is Triple H, HBK, Mr. Perfect, and Bret Hitman Hart. There is an era that a lot of us are going for. KJ says it's impossible for me to pick my favourite wrestlers, whether it's current or all time. I'd have to pick per brand. I get what you're saying. It's difficult, but it's usually worth it to just pick one. I know that sometimes I'll say, like, to you guys, who's going to win the Rumble? And you'll give me a list of 4 or 5 people. And I'm like, no. You got to pick one. I know I'm annoying you. I'm okay with it. Hey, do you remember when you made me do squats? I'm okay with it. As regards Bron Breakker, Megan says I'd have him enter, get maybe 2 or 3 eliminations, and then get eliminated by the eventual winner, who I think might be Big E. That's probably where I'd go as well. Makes sense to me. Carl is also a fan of HBK. And as regards anime, Sean says my favourite animes are Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dragon Ball Z. I've watched all of Dragon Ball Z multiple times. I watched GT once, never again. Robert Roode does do a magnificent spinebuster. I nearly said a glorious spinebuster. Just a little bit on the nose, you know? A little bit on the nose. RKH's favourite anime includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different anime. 14's a bit much, mate. I don't think you can call it a favourite if you've got 14 of them. I appreciate that the match isn't short. They're going for it with this one. Some good counters from Robert Roode there. I don't think anyone truly believes he's going to pick up the win, but he's created a little bit of doubt. And that looks like our finish. And rightly so. Another win for Damian Priest. A little bit of further elevation. And a new match. A match we haven't seen before. I gotta admit, I didn't focus too much on it. But still. And I'm guessing next week will be Dolph Ziggler. I respect that Ziggler not only hit the super kick, but then had to strip as well. Sometimes you just got to take your shirt off, and I respect that. Jermaine says, I love Dragon Ball Z. I love the newer version of Dragon Ball Z, except for GT. Can't stand it. It seems like it's all over the place. Too weird. I did neglect to mention Kai there, which I do have to finish watching at some point. Bailey says, if it's not Reigns and McIntyre, have Brock versus Roman at Mania. Have Heyman turn on Roman to give Brock the title. Brock Lesnar is still the favourite to win the Royal Rumble, to be fair. Sean says, Miz and Edge after Bianca versus Doudrop. Makes sense. Miz and Edge will be our third-hour draw segment. I'm confident of that. But in the meantime, we do get Bianca versus Doudrop. It's overdue. We get a match. That's what we need. I don't necessarily see Doudrop picking up the win here. Getting a full recap. I don't know why you're choosing to apologise, Carl. I don't think you were responsible for it. J-Dub says, I wouldn't sell a super kick from Ziggler unless he stripped down afterwards. I like where you're coming from there. It's like, if Jeff Hardy didn't take off his top before the Swanton, I'm not selling the Swanton. Do it. Just do it. Do it. Etc. Good response for Bianca Belair. Bit weaker than she's used to. A long run up from Doudrop. Good camera work there. Good camera work. There is someone in a very nice suit just stood at the corner there, and he's very distracting in his little red tie. I think they've switched to Doudrop's theme, or Piper Niven, I should say. That right there is something that the WWE use a lot. They just don't want you to change the channel, so they decided to throw in a basically a draw before the break. The draw there being, don't you want to see him fight? Don't you want to see him fight? Don't you want to? Don't you want to? You definitely do. You definitely do, though. You definitely do. I do. But you don't need to overdo it. Omega says, for real though, it's Nixon, HBK, Rock, Edge, and Kenny. Good choices. Very good choices. J-Dub says, if The Rock doesn't toss the elbow pad, I don't stay down for the people's elbow. Correct. Like, if it doesn't go far enough, I'm not going to respect it. Get that toss going. If you're going to toss hard and toss far. Hey, Jarrett, welcome, mate. It's been a little while. How you doing? Says, I know it's not going to happen tonight, but maybe at day one, Alexa comes back and costs Liv the title, and we get heel Alexa back, where she thrived at. Wishful thinking, I know. I do agree, it's a bit of wishful thinking. I don't think there's a lot of faces right now. We've got Bianca Belair, we've got Becky. We do technically have Rhea and Nikki, so maybe I'm in the wrong in saying that. I think Alexa will be coming back as a face, but I don't know for certain when it'll be. I have got a video, of course, on my YouTube detailing return plans for Alexa Bliss. KJ says, if Bianca loses, I will riot, then jump off my 4th floor. Bianca losing is not tolerable. I can respect the game. I can respect the game on that one. Now, I'm going to take a very quick bathroom break at this point. I will be back in 2-3 minutes. It's right in the middle of Raw, so this seems the ideal time. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. I'll see you shortly. Hello again, everyone. I do apologise for the break. I did miss a little bit of the match, but seems like it's okay at the moment. I'll just catch up as we go. Jermaine says, I kind of see Doudrop winning this match, or at least DQ finish. The feud has to continue because there's no one else right now for Bianca. That's a fair comment, Jermaine. I do like your brain, which sounds real creepy, but you get what I mean. Carl says Dolph is a fake HBK. Certainly influenced. I wouldn't necessarily say fake because he's a real person. He's just, I would say, influenced heavily. Sean says I see Alexa coming back, either attacking Becky or interrupting Becky during a promo. I think it's too soon. I think they're holding her in reserve in case there's no Bayley. Jada says bathroom break. You only rent Cherry Coke, you don't own it. Was not ready for that phrase. That's good. That's good. That is good play. Ah, you guys make this show. Jarrett says it's only 2 heels on Raw that are single stars, Becky and Doudrop. Asuka or Bliss should be a heel when they come back. That's fair. That's fair. KJ says I think they'll save Alexa for the Rumble. I agree on that one. Or at least in the build to the Rumble to hype it up a little bit more. Larry says I hope WWE treat Doudrop as a serious wrestler and not a comedy character. They have transitioned her away from the comedy. I think getting rid of Eva Marie was a big help. It was a big help. And if you want more information about why the WWE got rid of Eva Marie, I do have a video on it from about 2 weeks before she was released, stating that her push was over, and she was over. Wolf Gamer, how you doing, man? It's hella late, but I just finished the War Game Watch Along VOD. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it enough to watch the whole damn thing. Thank you very kindly for that. That's damn good watch time for me. I very much appreciate it. How are you doing, and are you enjoying Raw so far? Carl says, is Bianca getting jumped? Nope. KJ says, besides the throw in there with Becky and Liv, where she'll lose to Becky upon return, she'll most likely beat Liv, which will push her to the side. I'm hoping Liv doesn't immediately get pushed to the side, but we are where we are. We are where we are on this one, unfortunately. The crowd's a little restless during this match. I can hear attempted chants. Nothing really taking off. Interesting that we haven't heard any more about what happened with Bobby Lashley earlier. Not even a backstage promo so far. And now we're in rest hold. It's just a restless crowd. They need to wake them up a little bit. The crowd are essentially trying to wake themselves up right now, which I kind of respect. I can't be angry at that. These are 2 powerhouses. Is this going to end up being a count out? Could be. Lots of options. Nice kick. What's that, Crazy Troopers? He's suggesting that Bianca's had too many opportunities. Bailey says the Raw fans not as engaged as they used to be. You see the old Raw videos and the crowds are always animated. Yeah, that's definitely the case. I think a large part of that is the advancement of technology. Nowadays, you don't really watch, you just sort of record. I think that takes away from it a little bit. Also, people are just a lot more available. You see Roman Reigns everywhere. It's a bit less exciting when you see him in the flesh, as it were. Whereas even though Steve Austin was on Raw week in, week out, twice at least, usually 3 times to open the show, mid part of the show, and the finish. Steve Austin was always 3 draw segments during a 2-hour show. It was amazing. You'd still be more excited because he was less accessible. Yeah, some cities are just dry. While you're away, they were cheering when Bianca was taunting. Thank you, KJ. I appreciate that catch-up. Wolf Gamer says, Raw so far is fine. I've missed a majority of the show, but interesting so far. I think it's been an okay Raw. I wouldn't say it's a bad Raw in any way, shape, or form. Carl says, Eva Marie really got released. I thought she got hurt, her arm broke. No, that's kayfabe. She has indeed been released. They didn't have any plans for her. I don't know why they brought her back. Like, genuinely, they clearly had no idea what to do with her. KJ says, it's kind of in all wrestling and sports, people stand up on entrances and match endings, that's it. That is true. Whenever I go to a wrestling show, I stand up. When everyone sits down, I take one picture, just for the log, as it were, and then I sit down for pretty much the rest of it. Jermaine says, hey Tom, who is Bobby Lashley facing at WrestleMania? I'm thinking Damian Priest, to be honest. I think that's a US Championship match between Bobby Lashley and Damian Priest. That's what I'm thinking. And honestly, I'm very excited by that as a concept. I would love to see that. So I'm thinking Bobby Lashley, Damian Priest. Though I wouldn't be angry if we had a very brief storyline and a very brief 2 or 3 minute match when he destroys MVP. I wouldn't be angry at that. That's all I'm saying. KJ says, yeah, Raw's been solid again this week, but I think they should have more moments or surprises. And it's 3 hours, it's hard because it's a weekly show. It's hard to keep a weekly show that exciting. I think the use of Bobby Lashley was quite surprising, but it didn't happen on camera. You know, it didn't happen live. It was recap. That was a shame. Maybe we'll see something later on when it comes to Becky and Liv, but I was pleasantly surprised by the RK Bronament. I'm really enjoying saying it as well. RK Bronament. Carl, I don't ever see that happening. Sasha Banks is literally Vince McMahon's favourite person in the entire world. KJ says, I wish they'd do... I'd imagine you mean Lesnar versus Lashley. I would also quite like that. Oh, thank you, Wolf Gamer. Says also might be late to count. I don't know, but I just jumped on YouTube as well. It's never too late. It is absolutely never too late. The thing about YouTube is watch time is so valuable. So valuable. So even if you're a Twitch viewer and you're never on the YouTube, if you open it and you have it on in the background, yes, the viewership's been counted twice. But it doesn't matter because the hope is that as we gain watch time, that will get us to monetization. Because I still need 4,000 hours of watch time in a 12-month period. Right now, I'm at about 3,000. Get in there. Get in there. In a 12-month period. Now, between now and, say, May, that should be an easy achievement because this time last year I wasn't producing that much content. But still, now we're doing dual streams. It's going to be all over it. Going to be all over it. And of course, if you do pop over to the other side and you're able to click that like button, I would very much appreciate it. Even if you're not there afterwards, clicking like says to YouTube, oh, people really like this video. We should advertise it to more people. I have so far, in an hour and 40 minutes of stream on YouTube, had more views than I currently have subscribers. It's a big plus. So every like does make a big difference. That was a spine buster and a half. We seem to be moving towards a finish here. You're right, that it's a good pop, KJ, though. They are woken. She has woken them. Dewdrop is essentially allowing Bianca the comeback at this point. They've given this match quite a while, which is good. A definite positive. Nice splash. I don't know which way this is going. I genuinely don't. I think we may get more matches in the future between these two, and the reason I think that is because we haven't seen a splash yet. Not a splash, a slam yet. I've said for a while the plan was to get Bianca Belair and Nia Jax together so that Bianca Belair could slam Nia Jax. They wanted that Hogan-Andre visual. They wanted that. I kind of think that's what they're going for here. It's a bit of a different scenario, but it does seem to be what they're going for. So there may be more matches if we don't get it this time. Wolfgamer says, and this is technically cheating, I should make a few more accounts and have each on your live stuff. Now I'm going to be blunt. I don't want to be saying do that while I'm live on YouTube. Maybe there'll be a message in Discord about it. Who knows? Sean says, no surprise Bianca got a pop in Tennessee. She went to college there, which is fair. That looks like a win for Doudrop. Not quite. They had me a little bit there. Had me a little bit there. Hello, Carlos. How are you? I'm guessing you're a fan of Pokemon. Are you a fan of the Pikachu? You're a fan of the Eevee? Okay, the slow motion replay freezing when she's in midair. That's beautiful. And those tights are wrecked. Laddering tights is a bane of the existence of basically all female wrestlers. Almost all of them have said something to me about it that I've personally interviewed. They spend so much time and effort making themselves look great and they walk out. And as soon as they walk out, tights are laddered. Becky hates it. Oh, Carl's a Charizard man. I'm a Dratini guy. I like the little worm. I like little worms. Makes sense now that we are following up with Miz TV. That will be the full draw segment for hour 3. We just need a little more time to get there. They've given the match good time, and it's been a decent match. Piper has not really had much opportunity to show what she can do so far. That didn't go well. That didn't go well at all. She landed a little bit head first there. Used the ropes to help for the KOD. Hasn't quite managed it. What's happened there? Was that intentional? I don't. The roll out of the ring suggests that was intentional. Or Doudrop's just leaving. Definitely the beginning of a longer term feud. Bianca's letting it happen. I respect that. Sometimes you just got to let yourself have a count out win. This feud will definitely continue. Yeah, she definitely wasn't winning that and she ran away. Megan says there's nothing worse than having the look together, then the tights get laddered or split. Speaking of, I'm going to see Rocky Horror live on Thursday. I've been looking at my options for attire. I will not be taking pictures. Wolf Gamer says if we're talking about Pokemon, my favourite is Umbreon. Good call. Beautiful. Beautiful. Ed says, did I miss anything vital? Not really, Ed. There's an arcade Bronament. I feel that's the most vital part of it. Outside of that, we had Bianca Belair versus Doudrop. Oh, Bobby Lashley got involved with the main event scene. That was pretty cool. And now we're getting a recap of Austin Theory getting slapped. KJ says WWE needs to get local competitors back. Bianca needs some squashes after Doudrop. Makes sense. I mean, that's a good shout. Vince and Austin Theory do continue to work together. Not really a surprise there. Austin Theory is very, very proud of his bicep, apparently. The slap last week is apparently still hurting him. Jermaine says, I truly believe they did that finish to protect Doudrop and Bianca because there's no one else for Bianca the next time they wrestle. Bianca will lose. We'll see how that plays out. I think it's a good show. Doudrop was on the ropes already. Okay, KJ. Carl, it's near my house. That's as detailed as you're going to get. I live in the Blackpool, England area. Jermaine says, let's do the time warp again. And so you should. So you should. Megan says, poor Austin Theory. One wrestling dad is pretty much ignoring him. One's slapping him. And one's about to leave. Yep. He's been on a journey as Austin Theory. Like a full-on journey. KJ's hyped for the arrival of The Miz. Wow, Megan. Megan says, I know someone who actually dislocated their knee doing the time warp. Wow. I didn't realise it was a dangerous dance. Does that mean I can't do the time warp again? Bloody hell, Miz. Damn. I'm not the only one, right? Like, damn. Well played. KJ says, I'm hoping they don't drag this to Mania. It's bigger matches for both of them. Well, I don't know about Miz, but Edge definitely. There are better options, I feel, for Edge, but he's going to be around for a while yet. We hopefully will get to them. In the meantime, I'm still pretty confident we're going to get that mixed tag at WrestleMania. This one's going the distance. Carl's also a fan of The Miz. Megan says this is some good tailoring and I like it. Perfect. Perfect. Welcome, Selena Isaac, to the show. You've had quite a few new people jumping in on YouTube. I very much appreciate seeing so many new faces jumping in, saying hi, and getting involved. And quite a few people hitting that subscribe. Sean says, no, Maryse. No. Interesting, that, isn't it? Very interesting. Considering she's been very much confirmed now by so many different websites as being back full time. It makes sense. They're recording for Miz and Mrs. I think as much as anything, after losing John Morrison, the Miz wanted someone there who he knew he could rely on to just be cheerful. To just be cheerful and keep him happy. And Maryse would definitely do that. Would definitely do that. Selena is asking Becky Lynch or Liv Morgan, which one? Becky Lynch will win the match, I feel. I'm a big fan of Becky Lynch. I think it's the Irish connection. I am Irish, so that makes sense. But I also quite like Liv Morgan as well. I'm hoping, after she doesn't win the championship, we keep moving towards something for her. Because she deserves something. I just don't necessarily think now's the time for the championship win. Jermaine says, I believe The Miz and his wife are just the appetizer for Edge and Beth. And I say this because I think the big match is Edge and Beth versus Seth and Becky. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. However, I don't think that match is coming particularly soon. Because we've had a lot of Seth recently, and Becky is currently a champion. So it's just not the right time. After WrestleMania, I can see that happening, though. It says, Maryse definitely keeps Miz in good spirits. That's basically what I was trying to say, yeah. Keep him cheerful, keep him smiling. Keep him from missing John Morrison so much that he becomes mutinous. Basically is what I'm trying to say. Good old mutiny. Good old mutiny. So Miz TV is going to be our third hour draw segment. Edge has been a proven draw segment over on SmackDown and will continue to be on Raw. I do feel like this is proper star power in a ring. Edge, The Miz, the real diversity of why they're draws as well. Edge being the ultimate opportunist, a seasoned winner, someone who goes back to the Attitude Era as well. He's just always been there, whereas The Miz has kind of gained popularity by not being there, by being in films, by hosting awards, by having Miz and Mrs. It's a real diversity of why they're draws, but they are still both very, very powerful draws. Are we about to get we're getting a full recap of SmackDown. I get why they do this, but I still don't feel entirely comfortable with it. I don't care about the pies. I don't care about the pies. Also, she missed her. Like, she missed her. It went over her head. How much of Brock's promo are we going to see? Because that promo was good. It was Boombox Brock all over again. And you guys know how much I love Boombox Brock. He was my guy. He was my jam. He was what I needed in my life. And then he went away. And it was sad. But then he came back. And I was happy. So a mix of sad and happy, but we're getting there. Brock basically being the dad there. I can see it now, kid. Sami Zayn. I can't imagine a world previously where I would honestly say I love Brock Lesnar. This Brock Lesnar though, I love the guy. He's amazing. He is amazing. Wolfgamer says, I love the Twitter account for WWE on Fox. Tweeted a picture of Theory and McMahon and put the quote, always two there are. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice. Whoever works that account just knows. You know? They just know. I remember the days before WWE on Fox Twitter account. Like the BT Sport account is okay. But it's not really delivering much unique content. It's just a lot of the same thing that the WWE main account does. Whereas WWE on Fox, that's fun. That's fun. Sean, why are you not loving The Miz? The Miz looks great. Larry says we all need a powerful set of pair of drawers. We do. Can't argue. Can't argue. And Sean says great Star Wars reference there. That's how it's done. That is how it's done. I'm terrified of the concept of Austin Theory as Darth Maul. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm excited. What do we think is going to be the main event at day one? Do we think it's going to be Big E versus Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens? Or is it more likely to be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar? Because let's be honest, it's going to be Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Not going to happen, Carl. Wrong brand. Jermaine says Maryse could team with Doudrop going up against Beth Phoenix and Bianca. Now that could be a match down the line. Yeah, I suppose. It's a very standard women's division match. Crowd play along for The Miz. Bear with me. Still happening. That was what we were all thinking, Miz. Where is Maryse? I do very much enjoy his work. Megan says it'll be Brock versus Roman, which will be fine. Pretty much. They just turn the lights up for The Miz. Sean says depends which is the bigger match. I think Roman and Brock, let's be fair. It's got Roman in it and it's got Brock Lesnar in it. Like, that's just going to be beautiful. And Wolfgamer says I can definitely see McMahon as Emperor Palpatine. It just fits perfectly. It does. The hood goes up, the shoulders come up, and you can just see it. And then when the hood comes down, it was me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin. You can see it. Edge is still getting good pops, but he's not getting returning legend pops anymore. He's wearing a Brock Lesnar shirt. Again, not happening, Carl. Brock Lesnar is not winning at day one. Never bet against Roman Reigns. Jimmy says, hey Tom, I thought the same thing. Toni Storm did miss her with that pie. She did. She cleared her. Charlotte basically had to just go like that to make sure she at least looked like she got pied. Cream pie? No. I was just trying to be logical there, but I realised very quickly that's the wrong call. There are KJ. He was trying to hype the crowd up immediately, went running towards people and just pointing at them, and they're like, yeah. Yeah. Oh, we're really going for the Star Wars thing. Wolfgamer says the whole unlimited power bit fits Vince. Sean says Vince can be Palpatine and Austin can be Anakin. That's exactly where we are. Where can I learn this power? Not from a Jedi. Okay, we get an Edge Chan. There's still a lot of love there. A lot of respect, a lot of respect. Carl says Roman's Empire is going to come down sooner or later. Let's go down to The Rock for Brock. Down then. Drew McIntyre will overthrow Roman. Pretty confident. Now, I may be a little quieter during this segment because, let's face it, this is going to be good. Those are some very shiny shoes. This is just going to be a standard promo off, something The Miz is very good at, something Edge has proven very good at. We are very much playing into their strengths here. Please don't zoom in on the sneakers. Jermaine said, I still say the best Brock was when he was in the Ring of R-Truth. Never seen Brock laugh so hard in my life. He lost his shit. Full on lost his shit, which is never a bad thing. Absolutely never a bad thing. As we are watching Miz and Edge, bit of news I want to share. Yeah, Edge got told off last week for referencing John Morrison. He got told off last week. If you're just joining us, if you're on Twitch, by all means click that follow button. It will give you a notification every time we go live. And if you're just joining us over on YouTube, please do remember to click like. That little thumbs up can make a big difference. And subscribe for Spoiler Warning News Show. And in addition to that, Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-view watch-alongs. Carl says, you don't like The Rock very much, do you? I don't know where you got that impression. Basically, if you if you take, oh, he doesn't like The Rock, from, oh, Rock's not winning the championship, then you should probably think that I dislike basically everyone. Because no one in the ring right now has got the championship. I'm not going to win it anytime soon. Do you think I don't like them? Putting words in my mouth. Rude. Okay, just says 2 legends in the ring, 2 homegrown talents. That's a fair point. Edge did wrestle on the Indies briefly. Very briefly as Adam Copeland. But he is a vet of WWE. Welcome, Calvin. Also, welcome Live Life, but I'd imagine you're actually still someone else. I don't understand how saying the word Roman is anti-Rock. You're on one a bit, Carl, aren't you? I always like it when they call him Mike. That he's pretty. Ugh. Could do a lot better than that. Megan said the mix of real and story works for me. I agree. This is where The Miz is at his best, and Edge is really carving out a room for this as well. I mean, this is what made Miz Cena so good. Larry says, that's it. Good night. All too late. 3 a.m. It is 3 a.m. Larry, thank you very much for joining us. Have a great night, mate. Yes, Wolfgamer. Miz did just say January 1. I think he meant day 1 or January 1st. Match is about to be turned down again, I'm sure. Nothing between us but air and opportunity. I like that. I'm going to use that the next time I'm trying to pull. No, but Calvin, we like the smashing. Now, I get that it sounds weird. But when Roman wants to smash, we respect the smash. Bad camera work there. Didn't even show the fact that Edge did anything to make the Miz flinch. Noob is saying Miz versus Edge at day one. Should be good. I expected this. I spoke about this in the preview earlier. That we were going to get Miz versus Edge at day one. And then they'd probably both be in the Royal Rumble and not have an individual match. Encounters at each other at Saudi Arabia. They'll probably go 1-for-1. Then mixed tag at WrestleMania to finish it off. That's what I'm seeing. KJ says maybe Edge Beth versus Miz and Maryse at Saudi, the one before Mania. To be fair, not a bad shout. They are trying to get more women on the card. That could certainly work out. It is just after the third draw segment. We expected Liv Morgan, and here she is. She's dressed to wrestle already. These are very good promos. There is a genuine big fight feel around this main event. She is so happy right now. Ooh, match 1 of the RK Bronerman. Did I say match 1? Match 2 of the RK Bronerman. KJ says Liv needs to win the Rumble. Not one of the favourites at the moment. I believe she's about 16-1. Wolfgamer says it was bad camera work. I thought Miz somehow slipped on absolutely nothing. Same. They weren't even showing Edge. Carl, before the Royal Rumble, it's day 1. Wolfgamer says Liv looks fantastic. Agreed. B-School Nick, welcome. How you doing, man? Says, hi Tom, do you think Liv will win the belt tonight? No. Calvin is saying, what do you think about Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns? They're very, very good and very, very good to watch. It's a very broad question. So it is Mysterio's versus Alpha Academy. And it's worth pointing out, of course, this will probably be the last match before the main event. Day 1 is on January 1st, Carl. With the Street Profits winning, we get a good match with basically any combination here. I wouldn't mind face versus face, Profits versus Mysterios. Wouldn't mind it at all. Would actually quite enjoy it. We are up to 16 likes on the YouTube video. Thank you everyone who's hitting that like button. We have been hitting double figures pretty reliably over the past few weeks. And that is a real show of support from everyone. And I do very much appreciate it. It really shows how we're developing and that we're doing the right things as we move to a stronger position on YouTube. Huge thanks to everyone who clicks that thumbs up. Everyone who clicks it every single time they come in. And everyone who clicks it randomly on a video every now and then. Every little does help. Pardon me. Every little does help, and I am very, very grateful for the continued support that I am being given. At the same time, of course, we are also live on Twitch, where you can click follow if you would like to get notifications every time we go live there as well. Just a big thank you, basically, to everyone for the continued support. As many of you guys know, I was using Twitch going through a very rough time. We have now pretty firmly come out the other side of it, and I'm looking forward to having a Christmas with some actual money for once, which is going to be, I hope, a very good feeling. And in a relationship that I'm enjoying. It's weird. It's weird. But Tom's a happy boy, basically, is what I'm trying to say, and I want to say thank you for the support for that. Wolfgamer says, also they're keeping the carpet stuff from Miz TV. Weird, they're trying to. They've made it more of like a late night show entertainment thing, but I think when Maryse comes back, they'll get rid of that. Sean says, do you see the team that win the RK Bronerman winning the belts? Kind of. I didn't initially think so, but then why have a Bronerman? Why have a Bronerman at all? It depends who it is. If it's the Mysterios, they could win the belts and that would force the breakup to eventually happen. Whereas if it's, for example, the Alpha Academy, they haven't really had a shot, and Otis has been getting a proper push. So it could work. Jermaine says, for all you Roman Reigns fans, it's great that he has this long title run, but it has to come to an end soon. Can't lose to The Rock because The Rock is too busy with Hollywood. Absolutely correct. Agree with all of that, but it does have to come to an end soon. Calvin says, I just hit the subscribe button and I want to wish you a good night. Thank you very much, Calvin. I appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing you in future. Jermaine says, Roman Reigns has a big chance of losing the title to either Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, or a move up to the main roster Volta. They are the only three I see beating Roman for the title. I'm still hoping that Shinsuke Nakamura will have an opportunity at some point, but we are where we are. Megan says, happiness is good, or so I've been told, but good for you being happy. It's nice to see that happen to good people. Thank you, Megan. Appreciate that. As you know, you've been here from the beginning, essentially. I've had some rough times. Had some very rough times, and I feel very happy coming out the other side. Not sure, Carl. I think it's just not something that Miz is going for anymore. No more Peep Show. Wolf Gamer says, I guess I didn't phrase that correctly. I thought they would have taken the carpet stuff off the ring after Miz TV and before the Mysterios coming out. Okay, yeah, fair. Absolutely with you there. That'll be gone by the time we come back from break. I think they moved a bit too slow. Carl says, just subscribe to you also. Thank you for having me. Been really awesome to me. You're a really awesome host. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate that. What we do here, we are an Ask Me Anything stream. So if you're chatting, I'm chatting back. Now, every now and then, there are times when someone will start chatting and I have to quieten them down, or there'll be disagreements. But we have a very, very smart chat here. Between Twitch and YouTube, very, very smart chat. When we talk about wrestling news, we're always sourcing, and we agree to disagree quite often. We habitually do that. Sometimes you just hit a wall in a conversation, you think, okay, let's move on. Because we're respectful. And ultimately, as long as you're respectful, I want you here. Sean says, a happy Tom makes us happy. Thank you. Appreciate that. And KJ says, John Morrison sighting in the Veer vignette. It's the same vignette it's been basically the entire time. Okay, can he just come to Raw now? I get the feeling his debut will be in the Royal Rumble. But even then, it's not great. KJ says, I want Kurt Angle with these two so bad. It'd be nice, but ideally, I'd like him to pick up some bloody wins. Just, pick up a win. Every now and then. Just pick up a win. It'd be lovely. It would be lovely. Just every now and then, pick up a win. Otis is another one who's sort of fallen into the territory of just sort of being there. Not the strongest of positions for anyone involved, but he is just sort of there. He's shaved again. It's difficult. It's very difficult to look at Otis now and think back to what he was with that storyline with Mandy Rose. When he was genuinely one of the most interesting, the most charismatic wrestlers there were. Megan says, at least Zio is debuting on SmackDown this week. Fair. Excited for that. Going to see someone at least a little bit different. See someone who can add something very, very different. Wolfgamer says, and he's absolutely correct here, basically what Tom is saying for the new people joining is, don't be a dick. So that's our general rule. As long as you're not a dick, you're very welcome. It's that simple. And I do feel most people have to work to be a dick. KJ wants Veer to win the Rumble. Veer versus Roman. We all want it. We all want it. Maybe. We all want it. We don't. But we all want it. Megan says, Otis and Mandy were so over it was unreal. By extension, Sonya Deville as well. That combination, everyone really, really connected with them. Just really connected with them. And I would love to see more of it. KJ says, Chad Gable is a perfect person to put in the ring with Dominic. Absolutely. These two have been, again, bad camera work with Mr. Slap. These two have already shown that they can make some magic. Oh, lovely suplex. Went for the bridge, but didn't actually pay it off. Jarrett says Liv versus Becky is getting 20 plus for the match. Hopefully so. They'll get the last half hour, but then they'll have a few additional segments in that last half hour. I think we'll hear something from Bobby Lashley. Maybe something from Big E reacting to Bobby Lashley as well. And Jarrett says Veer's been coming for like 4 months. Veer needs to see a fucking doctor if that's the case. Wolf Gamer says Veer versus Roman. Book it, Vince. Don't really. Yeah, don't. Absolutely don't. Hello, Boba says, did Liv win? Not yet. The match has not happened yet. The match is in the main event, which will be taking place in 10, maybe 15 minutes. Stay tuned. We will be covering that match. That's a fair shout, KJ. I don't always jump in when you're talking between yourselves, but I still read them. And yeah, he's been coming soon, even though we've seen him wrestle several times. Several times. Carl, if The Rock puts his career on the match against Roman, The Rock is losing against Roman. If he doesn't put his career on the line against Roman, The Rock is still losing against Roman. If The Rock wrestles Roman at Survivor Series, The Rock will lose. You can try saying it in as many different ways as you want. The Rock is going to lose. He wants to put Roman over. He wants to do it. And just like that, I am out of Cherry Coke. What a horrible world to live in, to be out of Cherry Coke. No worries, Boba. No worries. In the meantime, we still have the second tag team match of the RK Bronament, which I'm really enjoying saying, and I don't know why. Alpha Academy have got Dominic Mysterio pinned, but to be fair, both men have kind of pinned each other. Chad Gable and Dominic Mysterio just not letting each other get to the ropes. Not get to a partner. Oh, Dragon Screw. That was a lovely Dragon Screw. Beautiful. Jermaine says the sad part about this match is we've seen the Alpha Academy versus the Mysterios, hell, even versus the Street Profits on SmackDown. We have. And we've seen a lot of them. That's a win. Wonderful pin from Dominic Mysterio. A proper pin. Good reversal. The Mysterios get the championship opportunity. Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't. The Mysterios have to beat the Street Profits to get the championship opportunity. I forgot about the final entirely. Otis and Rey Mysterio did not tag in. Jarrett wants to depress us all, saying Omos enters the Rumble number 12, eliminates 5 people, and bam, number 14 is Great Khali. I'll see myself out, and so you should. So you should. I'm hoping we get a moment between Omos and Bobby Lashley in the Rumble. The Rumble's just a great environment for that. Riddle's going to get beat up. Riddle's going to get really beat up now. I'm a journalist! I'm going to do that. I'm going to just find a reason to do that. I'm a journalist! That was good. That was good. He does grow on you. KJ says Mysterios versus Street Profits should be good, and it's fresh. It is. Sometimes that's all you need. Right, so next week, Street Profits versus Rey and Dominic Mysterio. They've built towards next week while providing quality entertainment in the meantime. That's good. So we have about 10 minutes left before we would get to our usual start of the main event. So we could get all the vignettes out the way now and then have a 30-minute main event. But we have... Oh, Austin Theory's got a match, hasn't he? Austin Theory's wrestling. Do we know who he's wrestling, or is it Finn Balor? Wolfgamer says, I don't know, I'd take Khali over Ryback. Who wouldn't take Khali over Ryback? Okay, the match has been cancelled. Okay, I'm scared now. That's definitely not what he meant. That's definitely not what he meant. Yeah, please put it away. Just put it away. Please put it away. So we're just suggesting that Austin Theory has no brain. Well, you get... I have no idea what's about to happen. Oh, well, Finn Balor is coming down to the ring. Do we have wrestling? Wiggly says this Raw seems to be dragging on. It's reached that point, hasn't it? At this point, I just kind of want to get to the main event. But it is 20 past 3, so I am quite tired. Noob says Orton is definitely going to hurt Riddle. Eventually, absolutely he will. KJ says, Finn, please give him a squash match, but I feel it's Theory. Well, the Theory match has been cancelled. Is Austin Theory going to attack Finn Balor from behind? And there isn't going to be a match? Who knows? Jarrett says, is there any Rumble match where you think the wrong guy won? Other than the obvious one where Batista? And the obvious one where Roman? Not really. I would have liked to see Kane win one. But other than that, everything seems fine. The Rumble can be very effective. I don't necessarily think Edge needed to win this year. That was a bit much for me personally. Welcome back, Wiggly. Megan's hyped for Finn. KJ's also saying Triple H in 2006. To be fair, Dean Ambrose was in a very strong position. Could have gone all the way there. Right, so Finn Balor gets an opportunity. Finn Balor gets an opportunity against T-Bar. He's going to wreck that dude. Gonna wreck him. Oh, I'm struggling. It's okay. Just got to survive another half hour. Jared says, I think Orton in 2017 was a waste. I think if Orton had lost that match, it wouldn't have been. He just had to put over Bray Wyatt. But how many times have we seen a moment where it's like, okay, all you got to do is put over Bray Wyatt? No. Noob says, if a woman's Rumble match got the wrong winner, will you get upset? No, I don't really do that. Megan says, not the wrong man, but the wrong woman. Shayna should have won last year, not Charlotte. I do agree with that. I definitely agree there. KJ says, Tom, do you want to know the main event matches? Please, KJ, absolutely. Absolutely. Wiggly says, I wanted Sting to win in 2015. Sting's WWE run was really badly delivered. He should not have been winning Royal Rumbles. Absolutely not. KJ says, Randy won so it wasn't a waste, but it was more of a he didn't need it. The thing is, you're always going to get Royal Rumble winners who don't need it. I don't think The Undertaker needed to win it when he won it. But we had a 20-minute final match between he and Shawn Michaels, and it was amazing. Wiggly, why does that not surprise me? Jermaine says, I don't see Xia Li facing any of the current SmackDown women on the roster, which means they'll bring up a jobber from NXT for her to fight and destroy for Xia Li. Or potentially just a local jobber. Wolfgamer says, Finn is going to smash T-Bar? Yep. T-Bar going to get smashed. If this match goes 5 minutes, I'll be amazed. Just genuinely amazed. I don't see that happening. KJ says Shayna should have won over Charlotte. That was a case of Vince saying, you're Charlotte and you have to win a Rumble. Yeah, but the question is the wrong winner, and that's the wrong winner. Wiggly says, did Savage ever win a Rumble? I don't believe he did, no. Though basically during his time, or at least his time of strength, the Royal Rumble did not determine the person who challenged for the championship. Wiggly says Undertaker should have won more. I disagree. The Undertaker never needed it. If you're talking about people who don't need it, Undertaker never needed it. The Royal Rumble is a perfect opportunity to make a new star. Undertaker was established well before that. God. For the main event matches, KJ says it was Commander Aziz and Apollo versus Hurt Business, and Dana Brooke versus Tamina for the 24/7 championship. Well, that's a great watch. Why would anyone watch main event? Wiggly says Eddie should have won one. I think he would have. Just, eventually. KJ says Taker was a guy who didn't need titles or Rumble wins. Yeah, pretty much. And to be fair, Undertaker very rarely had championships. Very rarely. When he did, it was in service of something else. Much like Sasha Banks. Undertaker was Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is a modern Undertaker, is what I'm basically trying to say. Sean says, did Asuka, Becky and Bianca need their Rumble wins? Bianca, I think, needed the Rumble win. Becky, I don't think needed it, but I like that it benefited the story. But I don't really argue in the favour of they needed it or they didn't need it. Sometimes it's just fun to have it. I'm curious if we've seen Balor Dijakovic before. Jared says, out of curiosity, I've heard reports where it says WWE wants NXT 2.0 talent to be completely away from the main roster until call-ups. So how does WWE feel at the Women's Rumble? Panic? Or just use people who cross that divide, like Raquel Gonzalez? They need people. It would have Wiggly. CM Punk could have benefited from winning a Rumble. But to be fair, he also did win 2 back-to-back Money in the Bank ladder matches. So, he certainly had his moments. I should have started a timer. Finn Balor's just getting beat up at this point. T-Bar's picked up a lot of losses since he moved I don't think he moved to Raw, since he was split and went solo on Raw. But honestly, I don't mind it. They've used him well. No, Carl. Shane and Stephanie never owned WCW or ECW. I worry about your concept of kayfabe. Wheeler says Io Shirai or Shayna to win the Women's Rumble. The favourites are Bayley, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss. Paige is up there. Shayna's, I believe, 16-1. Same as Sonya. Jared says, I'm stunned WWE hasn't had Sasha win a Money in the Bank ladder match. Money in the Bank's merged screens money. Yes. Yes. Money in the Banks. Yes, that is perfect. Oh, we have the smartest collection of people. Willie says Brock or Bobby to win the Men's Rumble. Brock is the favourite. You're literally just picking the favourites. KJ says, speaking of Punk, I love how he forgets who made him famous. I know his pipe bomb's mostly him, but in reality, without WWE, it'd be nothing, right? Wrong. Without WWE, he wouldn't be a household name, but CM Punk was still a big deal before he joined WWE. He just wasn't a WWE big deal. If he'd have been touring the entire time, AEW would definitely have snapped him up immediately. Megan bringing the stats. Queen. This is the first time they faced each other on TV. Faced each other in tag matches on NXT house shows in early 2020. Balor teamed with Priest and Dijakovic teamed with Ciampa. Sorry. Oh, I have yawns. 2 4 a.m. finishes in a row. It's not great. Well, this ain't happening. They haven't got time to make this happen. The crowd are disappointed that Finn Balor didn't just get massive choke slammed. And that should be that. Match did not last long at all. Someone in the front row just raises a beer. I like that. Wiggly says, as regards CM Punk, he doesn't owe WWE for eternity though. WWE treated him like crap towards the end. I'm sure he gets WWE made part of his career, but Punk doesn't owe them anything. I would agree. I don't think he owes them anything. When he was employed for them, he did the best he could to provide for them. Then he stopped being employed by them. It's that simple. Not true, Wiggly. The WWE very much did want to re-sign him. He just didn't want to be re-signed by them. Austin Theory on the attack for Finn Balor. I mean, that is certainly a way to get the attention. Carl, Sasha Banks is the second favourite for the Royal Rumble. Austin Theory gets the selfies. Just selfie after selfie after selfie. It's a copy and paste industry. I would imagine this is going to be a feud of some sort. Probably a brief one, but a feud nonetheless. Theory versus Finn. Will that make Vince happy? Oh look, it's Dana Brooke. Checking around all the corners. How long has she been hiding in a literal dead end? Carl, the World Heavyweight title was retired because they got better. Jarrett says, Theory takes the title off Priest, calling it now. I'll remember that, Jarrett, because I still think it's going to be Lashley. KJ says, I literally have that trash can that Akira came out of. That's how it makes it relatable. Who the hell is that? Why is Reginald defending Dana? Are they doing a romance storyline? Please don't do a romance storyline. I don't want to do a romance storyline. Whoa. I like that they just let off a massive boo and then showed people in the audience singing along. That is the fakest of boos. Poor. Sean says, who remembers a time at Clash of Champions 2019 when Alexa almost won the 24/7 title from R-Truth? I remember that in the middle of a match. And she still tried to roll him up, because why the hell not? Good times. Wolfgamer says, expect the unexpected. Austin, mate, we all expected you to attack Finn. I know Finn didn't expect it, but still, he should have. Let's be honest, he should have. Nick says, a 30-minute match. No. I see you've... I know you're not that regular here, Nick. I appreciate it when you drop in. We're all very familiar with the 30-minute main event. Usually a 30-minute main event will give us about 10 minutes of wrestling. There'll be a commercial break in the middle of it, taking it to 15 minutes. There will be a commercial break before it, taking it to 20 minutes. There will be a commercial break on the 30-minute, taking it to 25 minutes. And there will be several vignettes and backstage segments, usually involving an Adam Pearce or Sonya Deville, who we haven't actually seen this week. I suspect we'll see Big E, we'll see Bobby Lashley, we'll see something between Vince McMahon and Austin Theory. Vince basically says, I'm not that interested. And then, of course, Liv Morgan also makes her entrance. Actual wrestling content, you get about 10 minutes. Which is a shame. One thing I am very proud of is that we here on the Tom Colohue channels, we know the structure of the show. We absolutely know the structure of the show. To the point that we know what draw segments mean, because we know TV, and we know about that last half hour. We know it's a lie. We know Becky Lynch is going to stand in that ring for the next 15 minutes, bored out of her mind. We know how TV works. We know how draws work. We know what the WWE are trying to do with segments like this. That's something I'm very proud of in these chats. So many adverts. Megan says Reggie doesn't need another storyline, at least a romance one anyway. Yeah, I forgot about that. Wiggly says, I'm tempted to switch off Raw now and sleep. To be fair, you've only got the main event to watch, so now is actually, of all the times to switch off, now's not a bad one. It's not a bad one. Noob says, oh, Becky could a 15-minute promo. Also possible. A pre-match promo is not outside of Becky's wheelhouse. That is something she's used to. That is something she is comfortable with. It's something we've seen a lot over the years. Pardon me. Okay, we are now up to 19 likes on our YouTube video. 19. We are one away from 20. One away. If there is anyone who has not clicked like on the video, I implore you to jump on over. In fact, I'll link it. I'll link it on the Twitch. I'll link it on the Twitch. Just in case anyone wants to come over and just be number 20. Just be number 20 for me. I would really appreciate it. Sorry if I'm overdoing this. Sorry if I'm overdoing this, but it does make a big difference. As I'd imagine many of you will realise, if you checked my subscriber count before the show started, it's a bit different now. It's a bit different. KJ says, you taught us, Tom, especially with the draw segments. Fair, but we all know now. We've learned. We've learned. We know. Wiggly says, maybe I'm getting old, but just can't stay up for Raw all the way through anymore. It's a slog. It is genuinely a slog. A 3-hour Raw, very difficult. It's a slog. Megan says, the Lita Trish match was 7:09. Do we think this will go longer, given that there's going to be at least one more ad break? Probably 2 promos, Lashley and Big E. That's my opinion, just to be clear. While Becky waits in the ring to do her own promo before Liv enters. I think it'll go longer. I think it'll be 10 to 12 minutes. 10 to 12. Noob says, 3 guys got destroyed by walking Armageddon Bobby Lashley. Indeed. We have 2 people claiming to be number 20. Ed claiming to be 20. AK Ray. Welcome, mate. You alright? Claiming to be number 20 as well. Which hopefully means we got 21. I ain't complaining at that. That's a wonderful... Oh, bloody hell. Bloody hell. We're 24. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That, I believe, might be a live stream record. What, 24? Bloody hell. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been a hell of a watch party. Hell of a watch party. We do have Bobby Lashley backstage. KJ, I was just talking about the YouTube video. We are live on both YouTube and Twitch. And I'm basically just begging for likes. What can I say? Yeah, it really helps. Wiggly says, I mean, it's already afternoon in Japan and Australia and New Zealand. It's more like Tuesday afternoon Raw. Tuesday morning Raw here. I've only got 20 minutes left and it's 4 a.m. That's a scary concept, Wiggly. At some point, I'm going to go over to the US for a bit. I have friends over there. Being able to watch Raw at 8 p.m, that's just baffling to me. The match is just about to start, Rue. Just about to start. It is the main event of Raw. Becky Lynch is in the ring as we speak. The match is just about to start. I recognise that my choice of title is the reason so many people are coming in and asking for the result. I walked right into that one. But it's also the reason that we have so far had... Let's have a look. 1,547 views. We have a Liv Morgan vignette. We just met Liv Morgan's mum. Oh shit. This is serious. That kid genuinely looks like Liv. Like they found a kid who looks exactly like Liv. Yeah, Nick, sure. It's there. If anyone here hasn't subscribed, please, I'd appreciate that as well. We've done very well for subscribers today. Thank you everyone who's joined, everyone who's clicked subscribe. It's been a big help. Thank you. This is a substantial Liv Morgan hype package that is ultimately ultimately eating into Liv's actual match. Like, this could be a problem. KJ says, the song they're using for this vignette was Ridge Holland's theme song. Really? Interesting. Very interesting. Wolfgamer says, gotta say that I remember when Impact Wrestling made Lashley Bobby 3 belts. I didn't think he could be anywhere near as good as that, but the Hurt Business stuff is good. The Hurt Business stuff is very, very good. Wiggly says, I mean, I'm used to this routine from since my teen years, tucking into bed on a Monday or whatever, watching late night WWE. Absolutely. Liv Morgan is going to be fried after this match. She is very emotional. She is very emotional. Wiggly says, my mother hated me watching wrestling. My dad took me twice to watch WWE and WCW. How does everyone else's family feel about wrestling? My family all get together at least once a year to watch the Royal Rumble. It's genuinely great. I essentially watch the Royal Rumble and say, okay, this character's this. This character's this. This character's this. And so on and so forth. And just, she's actually crying. Oh. Oh. This is big. Becky's feeling it as well. Becky's really feeling it as well. Oh, we have another commercial break. There will be one more commercial break during the match as well, at least. Wolfgamer says, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Liv Morgan looks fan-freaking-tastic. Jarrett says, we're expecting a bigger pop for Liv, but oh well. It'll come. It'll come. Jarrett, I've already read that one. Sean says, huge moment for Liv against a top talent. B-School Nick says, you were right. They already killed 10 minutes. They did indeed. Wiggly says, I think my family never quite got it, but I don't know, even I'm not quite into WWE now as I was, say, when I was younger. Can't imagine life without wrestling, even if my friends and family think it's weird. I embrace the weirdness. My niece, for example, calls me weird all the time. It's a compliment for us. KJ says, dropped a like on the last 5 vids and like the current stream making that 24. Thank you, KJ. Thank you. Every like on a video can give me like 5 or 6 extra views. Those 5 or 6 extra views have a possibility that they will also like the video. So every like does make a massive difference. I have to sneeze again, my apologies. I cannot begin to describe how much of a difference they make. The YouTube algorithm is geared towards engagement. Every like, every comment, much more valuable than every view. Watch time as well, very important. So watching like a whole video, even if it's just 3 minutes, can make a massive difference as well. The YouTube algorithm can be worked out and it can be used very well. Wiggly says something about the whole larger-than-life personalities. Oh, I love it. Jarrett says, me and my family pick a number out of a hat from 1 to 30 and the winner gets $200. Nice. Wolfgamer says, my mom and I used to watch Raw and SmackDown every week. She really got into it as well. This is beautiful stuff, guys. Sean says, I watch Raw and SmackDown at home, but I watch the pay-per-views over at my mom's house. Oh, this is great. KJ says, the crowd, like I said, is a bit dry. He did say that earlier, and we did all agree on it. Jermaine says, hey, Tom, what are the odds that someone interferes in this match? I'd say quite high. I don't think it's... I wouldn't be too surprised to see Becky develop an entourage. Wiggly says, I think my mum took notice when she saw China and realised women... Pardon me, I've got hiccups. Women wrestled too. China did influence a lot of people. Sean Garner says something special is going to happen with this being the main event. I don't think the title's changing. I'm just going to be blunt on that one. I don't think the title's changing. Megan says, my older brother is kind of into it. Eldest brother isn't fussed about it, but puts up with it for my sake. My mum just thinks it's funny and a bit daft. And let's be honest, it is. Wrestling is funny and a bit daft. And that's kind of why we love it. Kind of why we love it. Everyone on YouTube suddenly got very dramatic. Megan says, older brother and I usually wager large amounts of chocolate for Rumble and Mania predictions. Also a good call. Nick says, I think Liv wins. Jarrett says, as regards the entourage, please not Zelina and Carmella. Ultimately, they do make sense. They do make sense. Liv Morgan is trying to control her emotions. So for everyone who tuned in purely to see this match, we are now live with Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. We've had a sudden spike in interest in this particular watch party. She cannot. She is still crying. She is still crying. She's going to cry throughout this entire match. Becky's emotional as well. Now, if you watched Spoiler Warning earlier today, you will know a little bit about what to expect from this match. You will know what Becky Lynch wanted at the very least. And if you didn't catch a Spoiler Warning earlier today, we did speak about Becky Lynch basically meeting with the producers to talk about what she wants to do on this match to make Liv Morgan a big star. Becky Lynch chose Liv Morgan to work with. She wants Liv Morgan to come out of this looking fantastic. Please stop crying, Liv. Please stop crying. She wants Liv Morgan to come out of this looking like a star. Becky's going to have to beat her up a little bit to get her back in the zone. AK Ray says, make Becky win by cheating here and let Liv win the Rumble and beat Becky at Mania. It's not impossible, but very unlikely at this point. I don't think Liv is going to be involved in championships come the Rumble. Or should I say immediately after the Rumble, because she's making a match at the Rumble. Wolf Gaming says, Becky looked like she was trying to keep her composure. Oh, she was. It's an emotional moment. She felt it. She's regaining her composure a little bit now. Sean says, Becky picked Tegan to work with also, but now that will never happen. Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. Becky's not going to leave WWE to go to the Indies, and I don't see Tegan returning anytime soon. Wiggly says, I do love following Asuka and Shida's YouTube channels, seeing a very genuine aspect to them. I look at wrestling differently today than I did, say, 10 or 15 years ago. Social media helps, I guess. Hope that makes sense. I think that's not necessarily true of just yourself. I think that's common of wrestling. Wrestling has evolved. Doesn't necessarily mean that, Jarrett. It's not impossible, though. I'm not going to argue. If we get a win for Liv Morgan, I'm going to be thrilled. I just want to be clear with that. I'm going to be thrilled if that happens. Bit of a matrix there. It was a good pin for a while, but not good enough. Liv's showing herself off right now, which is always a good thing. Oh, Becky, you can do this. There we go. There we go. Megan says, Edge versus Miz is now official for day one, by the way. Thank you, Megan, for the clarification on that. KJ says, if you can make yourself cry, you should be pushed to the moon. It's perfect storytelling. And KJ says, if she wins, I'm going to scream into my pillow. Mixed response. A mixed response. I'd imagine Ed is furious right now. Wolfgamer says, I don't know anyone that would be disappointed if Liv wins. Which is fair. We could see a brief championship reign here. Just a brief one. Just a brief one. Becky losing the championship and then regaining it at, say, day one or the Royal Rumble. That wouldn't be a bad thing. It wouldn't be. It's a WWE trick, and it's something that maybe Becky wants to happen. I mean, what did we say? Becky wants Liv Morgan to leave this match more of a star. There are easy ways to achieve that. Wrigley says, even if there's still a kayfabe aspect, I think we're more in tune with their personalities beyond the ring. And again, that's down to social media. It is. It is. We're exposed to wrestlers a lot more than we were. Ed just says, hashtag anyone but Becky. Lovely suicide dive by Liv. Lovely suicide dive. Perfect turn. So it ended up being a crossbody. Good catch from Becky. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. No, Wiggly, there's no December pay-per-view. I'm still marvelling at that suicide dive. That was perfect. KJ says, hopefully we can get some intel or Vince's reaction to this little push, whether he's a fan of hers or not. We'll have to wait and see, but Vince doesn't make all the creative decisions. She wouldn't be in this position if Vince didn't like her, I'll say that. A good chant for Liv there. Sean, in response to Ed, goes with the old Bray Wyatt. Anyone but you, Roman. Anyone but you. Jarrett says, unpopular, but I don't believe Becky should lose it here at all. I don't think she's losing. I don't. But I'd like to believe for a moment. I'd like to believe for just a moment during this match that Liv might have a chance. I just want to believe. We have gone into our final commercial break. Our final commercial break before it all finishes up. We're going to get about another 5, maybe 6 minutes of wrestling. If there's going to be interference, now is the time. So far, it's been quite an intense match. They've been going at a decent pace for it, which I'm very happy about. If you tuned into this watch along just for Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch, hi, I'm Tom Colohue. I cover Raw, I cover SmackDown, I cover exclusive news, such as talking about this match earlier on Spoiler Warning and what Becky Lynch has been trying to make happen for Liv Morgan. So if you're interested in that, click subscribe, click like on the video, click follow if you're watching on Twitch, and I hope to see more of you in future as well. In the meantime, let's keep catching up with the chat while we have our final commercial break. We have someone whose name I definitely can't pronounce in YouTube saying, you're biased, Becky is winning, give new people a chance, Liv never won a championship while Becky's won a lot, we need a new women's era. I'm not necessarily going to say we're biased here. I think we know how WWE generally operate, and I did say earlier about Liv Morgan having an opportunity for a brief championship run. That's all I'm saying. Megan says Trish and Bayley are arguing over Twitter over the text Trish sent to Liv. How many women have been doing everything possible to get attention onto this match? So many people have bent over backwards to get people watching Liv. Hopefully it's working. Jermaine says, hey Tom, any news on the whereabouts of Shotzi Blackheart? Catering. They don't know what to do with her. So she's still with the company, at least for now. Ah, right, okay. I'm going to call you QW and just go from there, saying I meant WWE's biased and stick a one champion for a year and move on to next. Okay, so clearly you're not a fan of the long championship reigns. I get what you're saying there. I do think, for example, Roman needs to lose a championship now. KJ says she's young, and isn't that their new motto? She can talk, she has a look, she's paid her dues, lost her squad, she should get a title run. That's not the motto for main roster. That's the motto very much for NXT 2.0 as they develop people towards main roster. But I'm not against it. I'm not against it. Carl, Liv's not getting fired. Stop saying stuff that just isn't true. Jarrett says, still believe the best outcome is Liv having Becky beat, but Alexa screws Liv over. That's not the best outcome. They look similar. They don't look similar. They genuinely don't look similar. People wanted Liv to be with Bray over Bliss. Did they? Because I'm going to be really blunt here. The whole thing, and I know the guy who originated this, and he's a fucking dick. Liv Morgan made no sense whatsoever as Sister Abigail. There was absolutely no reason for it. None whatsoever. Liv Morgan cannot be Sister Abigail, cannot be paired up as a character, will not work in a horror environment. She doesn't. People who want that clearly don't actually see what Liv Morgan's character is. And that's kind of WWE's fault for not establishing the character better. If you've watched her on Up, Up, Down, Down, if you watch Liv on Up, Up, Down, Down, you get more of a feel for the person. She ain't going with Bray Wyatt. Doesn't work. No, Jared, Bliss was perfect. Bliss was absolutely perfect. She's literally a horror aficionado. Far leg Becky. Hook the far leg. Bliss is obsessed with horror movies. She's obsessed with gore. She's always wanted to be that character. She was pitching as much as anyone was. She was perfect. KJ says, guys, Liv can win the title, but it won't happen tonight. The fact that we're talking about this is a very good thing. QW says, in your opinion, why do you think WWE gave Liv Morgan a championship opportunity? Because Becky wanted to. Oh no, I'm there's no assumption of hate, QW. It's a fair question. Becky wanted to give Liv an opportunity. The WWE want to give Liv an opportunity. She's getting good crowd support. Yeah, it's not world-beating crowd support, but for the amount of push she's had, it's very solid. And Becky needed someone to work with. She made the choice. Sean says, I think Liv said she didn't want to be with Bray. I've not seen that personally. KJ believes Bliss was perfect. Wiggly says, I think Liv might win tonight. Well, yeah, anyone might win tonight. Anyone might win. Carl, she's emotional because she got a championship shot. It's a big deal. She's in the main event of Raw. It matters. Ed says, Liv looks like she might be in too deep. We'll find out in the next few minutes, I'll tell you that. We'll definitely find out. Liv is definitely putting up a fight. Becky's having to pull quite a few weapons out of her arsenal that she hasn't used in a while. And we are approaching 2,000 views on YouTube. Incredible. What a show it's been. Oh, that was a bump. Ref checking on Liv there. That was a bump. Ed says she's waiting on too many spots. I get you, Ed. I'm seeing that. There's a bit of deer in the headlights there. I kind of expect that. QW says that makes sense. I think if they give someone new an opportunity, they should let that person win. They aren't a good champion, they will lose the next week. Simple as that. I think if they do that, they kind of give the game away too often. So, for example, oh, it's a new person. Definitely going to win. I didn't say 2,000 viewers, Wiggly. I said 2,000 views. Slightly different. It ultimately means that almost 2,000 people also turned off during the show, but still, you get what you get. Megan said, Liv having a short run would be nice and make sense. I just don't know if it's happening tonight. I would like to see it. I don't believe it. B-School Nick says, would you rather us watch on YouTube or Twitch? If you can only choose one, my personal preference would be YouTube. Because YouTube, there are direct benefits to accrued watch time. Whereas on Twitch, there is much less discoverability. We definitely wouldn't have gained the followers on Twitch that we have gained today on YouTube. Definitely not. And we certainly wouldn't have got the amount of views. YouTube, we are growing much faster, and a large part of that is the watch time. So yes, if there is only one option, or if you'd like to make that choice, personally, Nick, I would prefer YouTube. Thank you. Megan says a DQ or messy finish could lead to a stipulation match at day one, with plenty of time for them to work it out between now and then. So either way works for me. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. The crowd are starting to believe. We're getting very close to the finish. I know I'm slightly behind, so I'm going to stop reading the chat and just get into the match. We're getting very close to the finish. I know you guys are going to have a little bit of an emotional reaction. This is a very even match. Becky has not dominated. This is not Roman Reigns style, where there's just domination for a long time, then a comeback. There's been a lot of back and forth. The crowd are behind it. Becky Lynch is selling very hard at times. Let go of that Hurricane Runner a bit early. I think Becky called an audible there, and hey, it worked. There was an audible there. They're making it up as they go along now. The referee just directed Liv to the top rope. Told her we're heading to the finish. Drop kick. Nice. Into... Since when does Liv Morgan have a submission move? Oh. Do not do that. Okay, that was good. That was good. Her laces are untied and that scares me a little bit because that's an accident waiting to happen. Tie your laces, kids. Tie your laces. I am starting to believe at this point. Oh. No, I see what's coming. Yep. You could see the rope crab coming. That was very clever by Becky. She checked on the referee before reaching for the ropes. That was very clever. Liv Morgan did look great. She did lose up via a cheat. Clever finish. Wolfgamer says, or if you can, watch them both with one or the other muted. Yes, that is also true. Thank you, Wolfgamer, for saying that as well. Noob says, Becky just pulled the same thing at Survivor Series. She did, indeed. QW says, Becky used the ropes, but it's obviously planned the winner ahead. Becky ran out of moves to beat Morgan. Great match, though. It was a great match. Liv Morgan looks very good there. She basically took Becky to the limit the same way Charlotte Flair did. It's a good comparison. Wiggly says Becky cheated. She did. And KJ says at least she was protected in a way. Definitely will be a rematch. Bailey saying rematch at day one. Megan saying rematch at day one seems very likely now. I agree. She might have to earn the rematch, but that's a good thing. Wiggly, you're good. I was a bit behind. I stopped looking at the chat for a moment. It worked out. Megan says they showed a little girl about to cry. I said their plan is working to get Liv over. I agree. That was very good for Liv. KJ says day one is stacking up massively, especially if they get Becky versus Liv. Carl says, who won the match? Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch. QW says, I think after this match, WWE realised how much Morgan has improved and will give her more opportunities in the future. After the Carmella match, they actually realised how much she'd improved. And that is one of the reasons we are where we are now. Jermaine says this was done to get Becky Lynch heel heat. It was. But it was also done to elevate Liv Morgan. And I think in that, it succeeded. I think they've actually done an extremely good job there. I would be very happy if I was WWE with what they've been able to put together. Very happy. Oh, so that's been WWE Raw. It is 4 a.m. We are at 2,049 views on YouTube, 29 likes. We're currently sat between YouTube and Twitch, and I know some of you are doubling, at 39 viewers. This has been one hell of a night, worth every second, and that's before you factor in new subscribers. If you are watching on YouTube and you've enjoyed your time spent with us today, please do consider clicking that subscribe button. It makes a big difference to the channel, to our growth, and it does mean you can drop in for more in the near future. Also, I'm on 29 likes, so if anyone has not clicked like and you want to be number 30, by all means jump in and go for it. Ah, good times. Good times. Let me check how many subscribers we're sat on now. KJ says Edge versus The Miz, Roman versus Brock, New Day versus Uso, Charlotte versus Tony, Becky versus Liv, RK Bro versus someone, maybe, and Big E versus Seth versus KO. That sounds like a hell of a pay-per-view, doesn't it? Sean says, see you on Friday, enjoy your sleep. Thank you very much, Sean. Noob says, good episode. I agree. There was a sluggish point for Raw, but ultimately, that was a good show. QW says, I have a prediction. I think Becky will lose the championship at WrestleMania in a three-way match. Belair versus Morgan versus Lynch. Would be a good match, not a bad shout. I'm still feeling Bailey. Carl, Sasha Banks is not booked for day one. Wiggly says, do you do this on Wednesday? I do not do this on Wednesday. I would if I was full-time. If I was full-time, I'd be doing this on Wednesday, but I can't afford to sleep. Essentially, because I work full-time, I'm now going to bed at 4 a.m. I'm getting up at 8:30 to go to work. I've done that yesterday because of the NXT watch party as well. It's difficult. It's genuinely difficult. Megan says, the little girl is so over on Twitter, she's now the new angry Miz girl. And rightfully so. Whoever just hit like number 30, thank you. If you've been watching on Twitch and you'd like to stick around, by all means hit that follow button. But in the meantime, I am going to wrap up and say goodnight. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone who has subscribed, who has followed, who has liked, who has chatted. You're all wonderful people. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. And I'll see you all tomorrow for Football Manager and Gaming. And then on Friday for more wrestling content. Have a great night.